My channel may review knives, but I have the most fun on the lives. Settle in and grab a snack. Juvan and his vibe will arrive to attack. Talking blades and casting shade. There may be some friendly debate, but please no hate. Wow! My channel may My channel may review knives, but I have the most fun on the lives. Settle in and grab a snack. Juvan and his vibe will arrive to attack. Talking blades and casting shade. There may be some friendly debate, but please no hate. But please no hate. My channel may very few nights, but please no hate. But please no hate. Wow. But please no hate. Wow. Very few nights, but please no hate. But please no hate. My channel may review knives, but I have the most fun on the lives. Settle in and grab a snack. Juvan and his vibe will arrive to attack. Talking blades and casting shade. There may be some friendly debate, but please no hate. But please no hate. Insomniac, sit and spin, about to be live. Hanging with each other, talking shit about knives. We sit and we spin, and we vibe in the chat. We listen to Juvan just trying to describe where he's at. It is a good time, but who is this fool who talks about knives and EDC tools? Insomniac, sit and spin, a weekly live stream. You're in the right place if you know what I mean. Insomniac, sit and spin, a weekly live stream. You're in the right place if you know what I mean. Insomniac, sit and spin, about to be live. Hanging with each other, talking shit about knives. We sit and we spin, and we vibe in the chat. We listen to Juvan just trying to describe where he's at. It is a good time, but who is this fool who talks about knives and EDC tools? Insomniac, 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 sit and spin, a weekly live stream. You're in the right place, if you know what I mean.
Welcome to Juvan's Night Flicks. 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 The live streams popping, the comments are rocking, and Insomniac's favorite, no need for them knocking. You are now in the sit and spin, I'm at it again. About to hit you with some slapping content. Look at my pocket, I got a piece of steel in it. Real knife lover, they be feeling it, giveaway winner. I hope that you reelin' it, about to take off like the top of a penmanship. Got an extensive collection, I'm giving them flips like a river. This is a reflection of my craftsmanship, and I am the captain. If it ain't 3V, then it's ABL. Saying AD2, then it's Kush as well. It's hard to sell, they starve to swell. So pardon yourself, you caught in your cell. I might as well carry two knives for one job. Out the front, and the other is a hawk. Chilling with Hawk, cutting the box. The comment is popping, it's full of the ox.
Late night, patty whack, give a dog a bone. Grab a snack, sit right back and never be alone. It's time for
I went out because we only had a little bit, but are you high on cigarettes? And when that stuff runs out, you're gonna wanna make it. Are you high on cigarettes? Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? 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 He don't smoke 'em, but he loves it when you do. That's why he's high on cigarettes. And if you find him, you should light him up a few. He's getting higher on cigarettes. Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Let's watch two wrongs witness and get high on cigarettes. Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong? Do you know that you're right or wrong?
I told you to go to bed already, would you please?
I'm not tired.
I told you 5 times to go to bed.
Oh, come on, Jim, please.
Hey, come on, come on.
Is this what you had in mind when you asked me to marry you?
No. Remember when you first fell in love?
Had something more like this in mind.
Keep it that way. From the Mormons, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Have a drink of water.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? StreamYard's acting up. I apologize, kids. I've got lag. I think it's working. I'm going to say hey to you guys. No audio. No audio. Yes, we can. Okay. Yeah, I know it muted me there for a second. Hopefully things are back to somewhat normal. We're gonna pretend it is. Gonna be low key tonight. Might have a guest or two. You never know. Henry is in the house. Channel member. What's up, Ground Fog? And Marco is in the house on the vertical. This is being sent out in both vertical and landscape, so it's just for whichever you like. And the portrait, I guess, gets circulated more with the vertical. So join everybody in the landscape. Come in the vertical, wherever you like. I don't know how StreamYard does it. I clicked the option, guys. What am I going to do? No, McKenzie's in the house. Channel member, what is up? And we got the Roman gnome, the man, the myth, Richard Hopkins. What's up, brother? And we got Paul Mills. Paul, what's going on, buddy? I can never tell what knife that is in your little icon. Because, again, you guys have no idea how small my view of everything is. Conga Blades, what's up? I've got a laptop where I can see StreamYard, and which is chat, what I'm broadcasting. And then I've got a little screen that shows me what YouTube's allegedly seeing with chat. That if somebody puts up a link, for example, that I want to share, I can't click it in StreamYard. I have to pivot and click it on this other tiny screen. And then I've got a tiny screen to my right, to my left, actually, that controls things like going live, stopping, things like that. and sharing pages. So it does other stuff too. It keeps me from having to type. Anytime I don't have to type, that's a good thing because typing slows everything down. And unfortunately, the way that I'm wired, if I have to look at another page that I'm sharing, like when we go to Instagram, I'm totally disconnected from chat. If I focus on chat, like right now, I'm scrolling on chat, trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. I'm not even looking at what's written in chat. But I can focus on what's written. Let me see if I missed anybody. Then I can't do anything else. I'm like very, what's up, 1931 Leatherworks channel member. I don't know if you saw the video today, buddy, but I took apart this Lynch blades Swift 6 and used your wax, your bolt butter on it. And it's in the video, man. I love that stuff. I've got a little bit smuggling of it, but I've got plenty of other butters for blades. But I wanted to use your blade butter when I was doing the check behind the scales part of my EDC fixed blade review. If they're able to be removed, I like to remove them. I got cats all over me. Come here, Tip. Please don't jump on that. Please. Henry Christopher, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, man. So yeah, my point is, if I focus on the chat, which is what I want to do, is see what everybody's doing in the chat and react to it. But I have very little to add by myself. That's why I jump around. I look at different stuff. Haters are out there for shiz. Don't let them. My best opinion is don't give them any food. Don't pay them any attention. I learned early on, like about 50, that I have no control of other people's opinions of me, nor do I give a, how many minutes have I been live? Fuck. Yeah, I like to remove my scales and wax the steel under them. That's what I did, my brother. I followed 1931 Leatherworks and did it on my video today, which reviewed this knife, which is by far my #1 fixed blade of the year. I say that having my fret. I think this thing is totally ingenious. I'm in love with it. This is the Swift 6. That's Tippy. Who's looking at Huck like I'm about to kill you. Hey. Yeah. Come here. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see if I can get her redirected, and I'll show you the Swift 6, which is by far an awesome design. Hey, she's fucking everything up. She even got the lighting thrown off because she's in between me and the lights. Hey, but she's very angry. She's you can only see her back left foot. The front quarter or 3/4 of her is pure pissed off. Come on. All right. I think we've transitioned. Come on, get in my lap. But this little guy is small, svelte, but thick enough to do business. I don't know what that dimension is. I could measure it. I could mic it here in a second, but it's much thicker than my thinner slicers, and this is very slicey. It's got a really nice blade shape, reverse Tonto, just a little bit of belly. Micarta handles, which I prefer. They also offer titanium because it comes from Lynch, which would probably look more refined, but I think it would add weight to it. And this thing is very, very light. Crew wear, ding, 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 ding. That's what I really like about it. And no, I've not had a chance to sharpen it yet, but its HRC is 62, made all under one roof in Spokane Valley, Washington. And Smith, which is on the other side of the blade, if I'm not mistaken, is their shop manager or head CNC operator. And he's the one that designed this little knife, which is fantastic. The sheath's ingenious. And yes, you can get for about, I think we'll look in a second, but I think it's $25 more. You can get a leather sheath. But this little pancake Kydex sheath is fantastic. I carry it in my back pocket. got a deep concealment carry clip, or at checkout, you can choose a tech lock for a belt carry if you want to carry it horizontal or vertical on your belt. Fantastic, fantastic little knife. I'm a huge fan. Let me go to Lynch's site and let's see what that, I'll tell you what that sheath costs. Because they're also made in America, in Washington, but not in Spokane Valley. They're made in Redeemed Creations in Vancouver, Washington. Makes the optional sheath, and if you add it, let me show. It's currently sold out, but if you show you what I'm looking at. So mine is service, micarta. You get the sheath, it's $25 more. And it looks like, if I can find a picture of the sheath. There it is. Boom. Still a deep concealment carry clip. Don't know why my screen's flickering. Ain't no telling. Guess who's joining us? What's up, Gary?
Hey.
How are you, buddy?
Not too bad.
Good to see you, man. I'm glad you were able to jump on.
Yeah.
How was the second day of the show?
It wasn't bad. That's an interesting show. You know, that's sort of an epic knife show back in the day. And back in the day was, you know, not that long ago before COVID. And there's still a lot of there was still a fair amount of high-end people there, but it just wasn't like it once was.
I've seen a good bit of video that was provided. I don't know how much it shows of it was 2 halls, right? 2 halls in the hotel, or do they make it bigger than that?
No, just one small ballroom.
Okay, so 1 hall.
Yeah.
Ray, I don't know his last name, but Ray is a really good videographer, I guess you'd call him, content creator, influencer, has a channel called Everyday City Carries, I think. I don't want to butcher it. I watched him for a long time. He's Filipino, I think. Could be getting that wrong. About
you mean
5'8". You probably would have seen him. Because he would have had a little camera that he kind of high-end camera that he walks around with.
Yeah, he was helping like Reichs.
I saw some video from their booth that he provided, and Concept, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were there also, but again, they were just represented by like some other knife makers.
Did you see anybody taking good video that you might be able to point me in the direction of that would have just gone around and seen all the booths where we could have seen your booth? Did anybody come by and film you?
No. There was not. He was probably the only guy there, but he was kind of busy at his own table.
That's unfortunate, because at Blade Show, what I do, it's because it's impossible to film the whole thing. We have a show in Huntsville called the Rocket City Knife Show. This will be the second year it's been put on, and it's actually gotten bigger now that Nashville went away, which is what the New York Knife Show was during COVID and post-COVID. We had a knife show at the Sheraton Hotel that was I think it was 2 halls that were pushed, or the divider was taken apart, probably a smaller venue.
Okay.
But I'm able to easily walk around with a camera, an iPhone, and get everybody's booth. And it gives the experience to the viewer what it would be like to be there, and hopefully go there next year and shed a little, light on the people that were there, that took the time, and get their tables out to more people. But I'm surprised there weren't more at New York City. I would have thought several of the guys would have gone over there and taken advantage of that particular opportunity instead of just staying put.
Another thing about that show is that it is uh a pretty international show. So and a lot of those guys were not there.
They weren't able to get in, do you think, because things are crazy, or just chose not to?
I mean, I don't know the reasoning, but they weren't there. That I know. There were some people from Germany and there was a guy from Russia. Um, but yeah, there wasn't a ton of international guys. A lot of guys, makers like Tom Crine were often at that show. That was a show he was at a lot. Um, and yeah, so they just weren't
Did they
there.
have tables there that you could tell had kind of been what I like to say abandoned, like TS Prof at Blade Show this past year?
Yeah, there were a number of tables that were abandoned. I bet you there were 10 tables that are abandoned there. And the table price on that show is like $500.
That's what you said. Yeah, it was. It's not an inexpensive show, but still, you've got a great audience because you've got people with disposable income.
You got people with money. There's
Yeah,
people that drop money.
exactly. And
Let's see.
collectors go to shows. They want to have shows where makers are present. I mean, I think that's kind of, although
Yeah.
they said that's why Nashville quit being an annual show, according to 5150 Productions, because I reached out to them, was because of attendee interest, is what they told me, which is just a PR answer. But still, I would have thought that show brought a lot of people. And
Well,
yeah,
the
I
PR
don't know what a lot of
interest
people
in this show
is.
wasn't too hot.
What's that?
The PR interest in this show didn't end up being too hot at the end of the day.
I mean, so on Saturday, I would have hoped there would have been a lot more people than you saw on Friday, right? Or is that just a guess?
On that show, believe it or not, Friday is often the day. Yeah, Friday is often the day.
Really?
But yeah, this time it wasn't. Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate. And I don't want to say I hope it was the economy. I wonder how much the economy played in that, because I think we've all seen that affect things.
I think more than anything, it was the weather wasn't great. And and the show moving to Nashville and being in these different places, I think also caused that.
Where people wouldn't know that it was a show that's this weekend of this month.
Yeah, there's just something to be said for consistency.
100% agree with that. So that was your table, dude? That looks great, though.
That was my table. This guy here was selling high-end knives. He wanted to make sure I knew that the knives on his table were $30,000.
That's crazy, man. I mean, $30,000. Did he have people lining up to buy them, or was he just kind of more boasting?
He did a lot of like inner dealer. He's what you would call a purveyor. He doesn't make knives. He's just buys and sells. And so he was wheeling and dealing with other purveyors. These are like really, really like jewelry type high-end folder by, makers from years gone past and whatnot. But that was the table. And the guy to the right of me, Parkinson, what's his name? Matt Parkinson. He's he's a forging guy, and he had some forging. I don't think he sold. I'm not sure how he did. I didn't see a lot of, I don't know, but it's tough. These people travel these long distance. He didn't come from too far, but further than me, and hotels and the cost of the table. If you don't sell at a show like this, it can kind of hurt a little bit.
Right. I mean, it's a big opportunity for a lot of you guys. Do you think the majority of the people are makers like you, or purveyors and people that are trying to be, well, I would call them sell things to the knife community, kind of that type of, not community,
normally,
but market?
Yeah. Normally it'd be about 2/3 makers like me and about 1/3 purveyors. or maybe even a quarter purveyors. But I bet you this was about half purveyors because a lot of the makers weren't there. The people behind me were called Bastard Knives, and they were from Germany. They had
Yeah.
3 tables and brought 4 people there from Germany. I think they ended up doing okay in the end, but I will say this about the show. It was about a quarter of the foot traffic that it was at its height 5 years ago. But I did pretty good, and some others did okay too. But it just wasn't. Yeah, it just
Was this
wasn't.
his first year back or his second year back? I can't remember.
It's its second year back, but they did it in August.
So it's still trying to probably get it, or they are trying to decide what's the best footing for it.
And
which is
now they're talking.
unfortunate.
Now they're talking about doing fall.
Bugsy says it wasn't promoted well. He's in New Jersey and didn't hear about it.
Yeah. I mean, they were pushing us. I put it on my social media stuff that I was, going to be there, but I only have a certain amount of reach. And then if you have a lot of other guys that aren't going, then they're not putting it on their social media. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it 5150 Productions?
Is it 55 Productions or something?
55,
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
5150 is the album by Van Halen.
Van Halen in the amps, right? PV, a great tube amplifier, by the way. I was never a big fan of the sound, but can respect Eddie and the amp. So those are minnows in the center, right? And Mako's to the left.
Yeah. So these are all minnows right here. Magna Cut and Magna Max. There's some Folklores. That's my bushcraft knife.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, that's the Folklore bushcraft. That's the Beast version. This was actually, I won't say it's a one-off, but I have a few of these that I made, and this is like my take on an SE6, and that actually sold. A few of these knives sold actually. One, I think this one sold. And that's another. These are all Folklores. That one sold.
What do you make those out of, Gary?
This one's made. The Beast is made out of 1/4-inch 8670, which is a simple carbon steel. This one is in Magna Cut. That one was in Magna Cut. This thing is in 8670. That was in Pro Cut, which is that Pops Pro Cut stuff. Most of these were Magna Max. About 3 or 4 of them were Magna Cut. These were Magna Cut, Magna Max, Crewwear, Vanex. There's a lot of different ones in here.
That's so cool that you use those steels.
Yeah, they're fun steels. And this is a cool little. It's called the Omnivore. It's like a utility knife, but with a chef's knife shape. Yeah, and that's called the Omnivore. I sold one of them. So, I mean, I had a pretty good show. I sold about, Knife Center bought 8 minnows. And then, maybe, I don't know, a bunch. I probably sold 4 or 5 of those, maybe 3 or 4 Makos. So it was a pretty good show for me.
That's fantastic. I mean, would you say that, so Knife Center had people there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did they probably didn't tell you when they would go up, but I would bet you that those don't stay in stock more than 24 hours.
Well, those Magna Max won't. No, they won't stay in stock long. Let's see. Did they even go up yet? I checked earlier today. They weren't up, and they still aren't up.
Well, they're not fast to ship, for one. And I don't know how because usually they like to promote the show. They make content about the show, and I'm not seeing their content on the New York show come out yet. A New Jersey show. I don't know how it's referred to in
the guy they had there is a guy named Matt D. He's like one of their buyers. And he bought, but they did not have their sort of social media guys there.
Right. So they weren't taking any maybe they're just showing back at the studio before they put them out.
Yeah, he probably went there just, to pick up knives like mine. Now I bought 2 knives. I think I showed you the one, right? I got the
Demco.
Demco, and the Demco was cool, and I like that. It's not dramatically different than the Taiwan Demcos, but I like it. The fact that it's made in his shop, and he's in Pennsylvania, and I'm in Pennsylvania, and I got to go to his shop. But here's another knife I got. I don't know if you guys.
Let me
I'm gonna
make you
say
big for just a second.
this is a what is his name? I always say his last name wrong. Chuck Gervais. Anyway, it's a Boker. It's a slip joint. It has a, let's see here, half
Oh,
stop,
it's crisp. Yeah.
but it's got a clip. My lighting's at the greatest. It's got the clip there, and it's in like a denim blue micarta. It's in Magna Cut steel. It was $175.
Wow, and it looks like a full size knife.
Yeah, it's
where
a
most
good-sized
slip
knife.
joints that I see are small.
Yeah, this is really nice. I like this. This was a cool pickup. Boker's a confusing company.
Very much.
You got Boker
price
USA
wise and quality wise.
Yes, you got basically Boker USA, Boker Germany, and Boker China. They don't call themselves that. That's what I call them.
Right.
It's like Boker Plus, Boker something else, and they have slightly different logos. And anyway, that's the Boker USA one. So it's a USA made slip joint Boker Magna Cut, nice little blade, and it's let me find Chuck's. Chuck's.
I can pull up
name.
his Instagram. Who'd you say? Because I want to make sure I'm following him. Who'd you say it was?
Chuck. Let's see. I just wrote some messages to him here. Let me. Jadater.
GER.
GEDRAITIS. Jadratus.
I couldn't pronounce that either. Chuck the Greatest Knives, followed by Therapeutic Edge. Or is he? I bet he's the. Now, this guy has switchblades.
Well, they're like.
Him.
They're like. He makes like. Swiss Army knife switchblades.
Does that look like his table?
Yeah, that's him at the show. That was the show too, so that's another shot of the show. And that there, the guy next to him is Jeremiah, who owns PVK knives.
Okay.
They used to be PVK Las Vegas.
I actually, before they moved out of Las Vegas, I visited that shop and bought a knife there because I traveled with carry-on, did not check a bag, and had no knife and felt naked. And they were right next to the hotel, or two blocks down. Their showroom at the time was very small, almost like a closet. I think you have to have an appointment to see their really nice stuff.
Probably, yeah.
So is that the knife similar to what you got?
Yeah, the one in the middle there, the Boker. So here's the interesting thing. Now, they didn't have the one with Peak there, but they had the blue denim, and then they had the brown like canvas or burlap micarta with that style blade. Now, for me, I don't like blades like that are like stone
acid etched.
Yeah, I don't like any of that. To me, it's just a way to cover up sloppy work. But that one was actually more money, the brown one, than the blue one. I love when the one I like is cheaper.
Yeah, and usually they wouldn't charge more for that blade finish. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, ProTech doesn't even charge more for a wash finish. I know Kershaw doesn't, but he makes beautiful knives.
Hey, who's this wing ding wobo blowing up your comments here? You need to
Hold
kick
on, let me
him.
see. It's probably there's no telling, but I need to. I've got somebody's zapping him. Somebody, all those guys have wrenches. They zapped him. I can't get to him anymore.
All right.
So we're still seeing him. Thanks, guys, for y'all getting him. Put the kibosh on that guy. The cult of Sung Woo has cursed this stream. That's probably it could be one of many guys.
I don't know. He might be some young guy.
No, I think it's it could be an older guy too. In either
He could
case,
be.
those knives are super nice.
I
Could be
think
a
he looks
knife
like
maker. It could be a really high end knife maker.
I would be very surprised by that.
I could. I'm
Oh, he
not
keeps
calling
coming.
names. I only have a few people that I've actually gone out and taken a stand against. That's a hacker, Paul says, and so
Paul
does
Mills got
Richard.
it.
He's somehow
So-
coming back in.
So when I was in high school, there was
Oh,
this
that
T-shirt that some people would wear. That it was like a Chinese restaurant T-shirt and had like all these play on words. You know, like Hu Flung Poo, Sung Yum Guy, all this kind of stuff. But anyway, that was the joke.
Hey, I'll tell you what. It's funny because there are a
This
couple
was
of guys that are
Wang
really.
Bang Mao.
There are a couple of guys. I don't know how this guy. He gets zapped every time he comes in, but he's coming in as a different username. So at some point he'll fall out of.
Oh yeah,
he'll run out
Shang
of-
Tang, Woo Woo. Yeah.
And what it is I'm broadcasting, and I do this every Tuesday night. We never have this kind of spammer come in, but I broadcast both vertical and regular landscape like we do every night. So when you and I are looking at the screen, it looks like a normal screen, but there's also a mobile optimized version. Yeah, it's different names. 1931 Leatherworks. All we can do is zap it.
Same message, different names. Yeah.
He'll get tired of it.
Well, he'll run out of names.
Yeah, and if it was somebody that was malicious, that's not just trying to get a word across, because I don't know if I think we talked about this last week. That there was a pretty good sized YouTuber who has a knife company who had his account held hostage, and he's now working with YouTube to get it back. Yeah, but it was very sophisticated. Came in through email though, but we always have to watch chat because as a streamer, you're responsible for people saying stuff. So there are a couple of people that one of them's kind of a loose cannon, and I always have to kind of watch for him. I have to watch for, there's Kyle. Yeah, that is programmed, definitely. Come on up, brother. That's Kyle Coonley, aka Clinging Works Sharpening. My buddy and co-host who hangs out with me. He's the one who has the actual intellectual things to add. I usually just have observations of knives I've been carrying, and I haven't really carried anything. I don't know if I showed you this guy. This Steve Kalari Customs and Alex Steingraber collaboration. It's a little K390 slicer that Alex did. It's different. Alex made it for Steve, started OEMing or wanted to go into OEMing. Steve Kalari, some people call him Scuba Steve, Super Steel Steve.
I know who he is. Yep.
No, okay, buddy. I hope you feel better, brother. It's Alt's Elite Lurker. It's Kyle's alt account. No, it's coming fast, dude. But Steve makes these knives, makes them by hand, and Alex was going to collaborate with him on this tried and true. I actually picked that up secondhand, but it was I guess his first time OEMing somebody else's knife in terms of SPK, whatever you want to call.
What's the retail price on that?
I do not know. I want to say it was, I can tell you. I think it was 2 something, Steve. All right. Right. I think it was just sold. Here's one on Blade Binge. That won't tell us. Let me go to Steve's store. See if I can find one sold out here. That would tell us. Well, $299 on Blade Bench, and it's sold. So
right.
I don't see it, but I think it was right around 289, 249, something like that. Here's a Reddit post. Let's see what they say. 250 is what this guy was selling it for. So
they're not readily available.
no, it was one run. It's gone. And talking to Steve, I think it was just kind of like experiment to see how their partnership could work. I think Steve's still making one-off knives, chef knives, and some EDC knives. I've not talked to him in a long time. Edgy American Blades, who was on, I think one time you were on, Shane, very inquisitive young maker, not young in age, but young in years of making knives, is good friends with him, and I think talked to him a few months ago.
Okay.
So do you have anything exciting coming up? Are you pretty much, do you have inventory on your, let me go to your site.
There's inventory. I'm out of Kydex sheaths momentarily for I'm out of Kydex sheaths for my Makos. So I'm waiting for those to come in. Hopefully they come in this week because I got like 6 or 7 orders. I was cutting some Magnamax for Makos, so they're going into production. Actually, I got a video of that. This is in my shop here. It's
hey, if you got it, is it on where I can share it?
yeah, it's that other. Select the other Gary Creeley with the video there.
Is that it right there? I couldn't tell that was a video.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's noisy.
So that's cutting out Makos.
Yeah, that was in my shop. I got a laser a few months back. And so, just a little more. There's my shop. That's Paul.
Nice.
Yeah. Show him around a little bit. Hardly. Magnamax is getting run at 62. Who's the person asking that?
Look at those.
So there's dross on them.
I love seeing how well they're nested. So you're getting very little waste out of those sheets, huh?
Yeah, I'm getting very little waste, and here, I'll show you another picture. Let's see here. Yeah,
I think Gary just answered that, Paul.
So where I couldn't fit any more of my Makos, I have some friends that make slip joints, and so there are some Magnamax slip joints.
Ah, where you have their blades nested in there. How smart.
Yeah, because you see, like there on the edge here, like I have some room where I can fit that sort of thing, and maybe up a little bit at the top. And so, yeah.
So Gary, do you lay that out on a machine, like on a program, the way you want them cut, or does that come to you?
No, I lay them out manually like that. And you can see, let's see here. Can I zoom in a little bit? So you can see like there's a little lead-in line there. So when you start cutting them, it's a little bit heat affected too. You see the discoloration there. So, and I don't know if you can tell right down there, there's dross. So it's like where the molten steel shoots out.
As the laser's cutting through it.
Yeah. Trying to see if there's a better shot of it. See that? So that's got to get ground off, all that. Yeah.
Right. So you're taking off any of that fatigue steel in the grinding process.
Yes. And Very Good Knife Company did just get the same machine, actually. I hope he bought it through my link because then I get a commission, but I don't know.
He's such a nice guy. I met him. I had the pleasure of meeting him and his wife in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
one Saturday night. I think it was Saturday night at the bar. I don't drink, but they both seemed to enjoy their bourbon. There was a cigar event or something going on outside where several of the makers. I love seeing the inside of where they happen. I think that's so important for people to see. I mean, you're doing the majority of it.
Yeah, so like it's interesting. So my process is we so I cut them out. I buy the sheet. So I buy the whole sheet. That sheet of steel that you were looking at.
Yeah,
That
right
sheet of
there.
steel there. That's most of it. There are 2 more lines you can't see to the right. That sheet of steel was $1,800.
What's the dimension, width and depth on that?
2
It
by
looks like
3
about
feet.
4 by 6, but I can't tell.
2 by 3.
2 by 3.
2 by
And it
3.
was how much?
$1,800.
Just for the sheet before anything happens to it.
Before anything.
Guys,
Yeah.
that'll give y'all an idea.
You know,
And that's
then
Magna Max or Magna Cut?
that's Magna Max.
Okay.
Magna Cut might have been 1,500. 1,600.
Substantial still though to make knives. It's not easy to do it as a hobbyist.
And if nothing goes wrong on here, I will get about 95 blades out of that sheet. Makos. But every once in a while,
realistically, you're going to have some loss, right?
yeah, there's issues and failures. That sheet I got perfect though, but the one before it I did not. I lost 2 on that other previous sheet. I have I did 3 sheets of these, and I have 1 more sheet that I'm going to do folklores, and then Dutch Bushcraft Knives is going to get one of them, and then I'll sell the rest. But yeah, that laser is cool. Yeah, the good knife company got one. It's finicky. There's a learning curve. I don't know. This. So here's the deal. Like, this is technology.
Tell me if you need to get that back up there because I can put it up. I just want to see you.
That machine. So 5 years ago, a cheap laser cutter would have been $250,000. 5-10 years ago, but China started producing some decent ones, and you could get them for 50 or 60,000 or 80,000. And this machine was like 20,000. Now, in fairness, this is about as much as it can do. Like, I had some 1/4-inch stock, and it wasn't happening. It's not powerful enough. But for this, it's fine. A bigger laser would be nice, but just to have the ability to get a sheet of steel in your shop and then immediately start cutting out knives. I have a laser shop right down the road, and they're not a bad price, but I got to take it to them and email them the file and wait till they get around to it. I'm not the most important customer around.
Correct.
Now, do it in my shop. Boom. Send it to Heat Treat that's local to me. And those will all get heat treated. Interestingly, with the same protocol, Magna Max is not as hard as Magna Cut. I might have mentioned that the other night. So this will be 62 Rockwell. Magna Cut in that same heat treat. The new Magna Cut, because the old one didn't get this hard, is 64. So Magna Cut actually runs a little harder.
But the Magna Max still has, from a balance standpoint, its advantages, right?
Well, the Magna Max,
in your mind,
Magna Max is much higher carbide content. It's very high in vanadium. There might be some tungsten. You don't want to run these steels, Paul, to the max. But max on this might be 63 or 64. So I'm in the neighborhood of the max. You run a steel like this to the max, and you lose half your toughness.
Right. You want to keep it a couple of points below that. Didn't I hear that? So read that somewhere.
Yeah. You want to keep it a couple points below that. I know there are guys out there that run their knives at like the absolute top of the scale, but you're giving up too much other stuff to get that. You're getting a marginal increase in edge holding for a massive decrease in toughness. I don't know if you guys watch Cedric and Ada, but I'm going to send him a couple knives, and this will be really cool. It's going to be a MagnaCut, CPM MagnaCut Mako. Exact same ground, exact same geometry, and I'm going to sharpen it in-house. Well, I always sharpen them in-house. And then an Aerosteel Mako. Same geometry, and I'm going to sharpen that
And
in-house.
that's your latest melt, as you referred to it as, right? That's the most recent?
The most recent, and that's what MagnaCut's going to be from here on out, what that is.
Right.
And it'll be interesting for him to do one of his cut tests with the exact same steel, but made on 2 different continents, and see if there are differences. I mean, it's not
he's
super
the best
scientific.
at
But
that. He and a guy that I also watch and put a lot of credit in his content is Nick at Stasa 23.
oh yeah, Nick Stasa. Yeah. He
Nick
did
Stasa.
some videos on my knives.
Yeah.
He got some knives at Blade, but he never did the videos on. I'm gonna have to give him a hard time.
Or maybe he hasn't gotten to them yet. I don't know how those bigger channels work like that. Because for me,
It's always
my viewers know I'm not the guy that tests them. I open cat food and cut open cardboard, and then I always, because I like to, I always cut my cardboard into little strips, my boxes. My dad's got dementia, and I order a bunch of stuff from Amazon for him, like boost shakes, things that come in big boxes. They're also a pain in the ass to move, by the way. But I like that better than going to Walmart or somewhere. I don't know why. But I like to cut up the boxes. So I do use my knives, but I can't measure it. I can't do any kind of test. So my whole vibe is how knives make me feel. And like today I'm carrying in my back pocket where I always carry a knife, I'm carrying a little TRM tag along.
Oh yeah.
Their little knife. I think Lee designed this just to be a tag along type of knife, not your primary, but it's a great little knife too. But I sit on my knives all the time. And the guy who actually came in, who introduced me to your knives, just got transferred out of Huntsville. He was an interesting case. Huntsville draws a lot of very high-tech people, whether it be for defense, aerospace, or certain computer programming companies that are around. So he would commute. I mean, just nuts, man. He would commute from Knoxville, Tennessee, which is about 4.5 hours away. He'd come in on Monday and stay through Thursday. So he'd stop by the knife store every Thursday on his way out. And he had your minnow in his pocket. And then he had the Mako out in his truck and brought it in to show us. Super neat guy, but he got transferred. But what I was going to tell you, and I was wondering if you're seeing this on your side, now that I've been in a retail knife store for only about 3 months, I see a lot of, I would consider them Tesla driving kayak bushcrafters by description. That's how they describe them. And they're looking for authentic, real bushcrafting knives. And I don't really know, except from the grinds and the length of the knife, what a bushcrafting knife is. But they're specifically looking for a purpose bushcrafting knife to build shelters, work around a campfire. Do you see a lot of that where you're from, where it seems to be, and the store, not to finish my point, the store where I work say that's something that they're seeing a huge increase in, and it's from a couple of YouTubers that are putting out content about surviving out and doing kayak camping and stuff like that.
So bushcraft knives had a real sort of explosion like 10 years ago. And that has since died down. However, perhaps it's going through another renaissance. In terms of bushcraft, I have one here. I have lots. This isn't mine, so I won't shamelessly plug my knives. And I just don't have one in here. Or do I? Yeah, I don't know. So this is a bushcraft knife. This is a classic. I could get better lighting in here.
Has a nice dangling sheath.
Yeah. It's Yeah, this one has a dangler if you want it. That style sheath. So the knife itself, this is a classic bushcraft design. This is by a guy named Jack Lore. He has a YouTube channel. He's not as active as he used to be. These are really hard to get. Actually got one secondary on eBay. So the classic wood lore has a Coke bottle handle shape. I don't know how much that's coming through, but
Very
yeah,
well. I'll make you bigger for just a second.
this tapered tang, Coke bottle handle. This is English yew wood. And the classic traditional knife is made of 01 that people would use for this. This one's Jack Lore, but the originator. So over in England, there's a guy named, I forget this guy's name, but he had a knife made, and the knife maker was Alan Wood, who came up with what was called a wood lore. Now, the guy that makes this, his name is Sandy Jack, so he calls this the Jack Lore, but it's almost identical to a wood lore. Now, I took this design and made it a little different with, I wanted a little longer blade for batoning. And so 01, there's many better choices than 01. I don't know why they went with 01. Like 52-100, I think would be a better choice. But I made them in Magna Cut. So that was a little outside of the traditional, but it's a much better choice if you're out surviving and whatnot. 01's going to go dull much faster. It's going to rust potentially, especially in a leather sheath, especially if you're outside trying to survive in the elements.
Correct.
You know, so like Magna Cut is a much, much better choice. But when I did that at the time, nobody was doing it. So that, or not nobody, but not many people. Well, no, nobody, because that was pretty new steel at the time. So that was a whole thing. And DBK did a video on it. On the actually, that was their first Magna Cut knife. It was one of those bushcrafts. And so, but my bushcraft sales haven't been huge. It's admittedly an expensive knife. Like it's $390 in Magna Cut mine. So
right,
that's a little high bar of entry. But they're ground by hand. That makes them a little more expensive. But normally they're Scandies, but they're not always Scandies. Like a lot of people have like Benchmade's bushcraft knife is just like a saber. Some guys like a convex edge.
That seems to be kind of standard, right? Or is that not standard? I guess the Benchmade's not, but usually you see a convex edge.
If it's not a Scandi, it will often be a convex. You know, the Scandi will just be a zero Scandi.
Find one, Gary. Yours is not that expensive. Got one. This knife right here is an Olive. Have you heard of them?
No.
They do what's called a Fibonacci grind. I don't know if you can see that. My light's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Fibonacci. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. This is G10. It's got a little area here that's crowned, but the rest of it's super sharp for fire sticks. I can throw sparks with this like nobody's business. But this, I think, is $3.99 point of entry.
I think DBK just recently did a video on that knife.
I've seen,
right.
I know Melissa Backwoods has one. I was lucky to get one early on, but they knew I was not going to go out and hack anything with it. But I still don't understand when somebody comes in looking, I guess they want a tough, torsionally knife. They're going to, the people, this one guy, what's that?
How much is it?
$3.99 in LMAX.
Okay.
And it's imported.
Yeah.
And it has a Kydex sheath with a little bit of a dangler if you were going to carry it. You could, that's, I guess, how I would carry it. I mean, I just, talking to the one guy who's become a customer who comes in and he just buys, he's a knife guy, but he's into bushcraft knives. He's probably in his 30s. I think he's a software programmer and does a lot of kayak camping, but he says they like starting fires, cutting stuff, being able to And I'm trying to think of the right knife for somebody like that and what makes it different than an EDC knife. And I guess it's just length and thickness and being a little bit more torsionally strong than just a slicer that most people would look for.
So on their website here, they say our patented Fibonacci. I think they just made that
You
word
can't
up.
patent a grind, can you?
No.
I wouldn't think so.
Fibonacci grind design. I mean, Spyderco tried to patent a circle, so you know.
And Benchmade came out with one right after that, didn't they?
Well, it was a long story, yeah. Grind design combined with best in class materials. How about that? I didn't know that's what Elmex was.
That's all marketing.
Eliminates trade-offs.
Everything has a trade-off. We know that.
One blade, broad application, no compromises, no extra weight, no wasted space. I got to get these guys writing on my website.
I'll tell you what, I think I've told you my background is in marketing. And the best is if you Google the difference in an Ultratech Gen 3 and an Ultratech Gen 4 by Microtech, it takes you to a Microtech page that talks about the differences. It's a comical read. It's one page. And I can't believe they left it on the same page, that they didn't have somebody come in and clean up the fact that they were pushing zero blade play as the greatest thing since sliced bread, until for whatever reason they decided to discontinue it as a cost saver for the customer. In the next paragraph, it's really a comical read, but anytime something sounds too good to be true, we all know it is.
Yeah, especially if you know what you're, there's always compromises.
Absolutely. We make a compromise when we buy a knife. We're compromising a bunch of chicken nuggets in my case.
Yeah, like this grind is interesting to me. I'm looking at their Veneri compact carry EDC.
I've not seen one of those yet. They quit talking to me. I turned them on to Scott at Choirboy Cutlery. I'd be interested to see what his thoughts on it is, because he does put knives through torture tests, I would say, if nothing else. In real world cut tests.
So it's $330 for this Veneri. I'm trying to find the specs here.
Yeah, the Arbor is the big one in Elmax.
It's been there. 2.89 inch blade. Where's the overall length? Come on.
For some reason, people don't think that's that important. You have to dig for it.
Yeah, that's like.
And sometimes you have to do math.
I actually kind of care. I care about both of those figures because that gives me the handle to blade ratio. Without that, you can't really figure that out. Here we go. Specifications. It's in the drop down. All right. Let's see. What's the stock thickness? Blade thickness. 118. Okay. So my minnow is 105.
Which is a little bit thinner or a little bit thicker. I know nothing about.
So in machining world, you take 1 inch, right?
Right.
And you cut it up into 1,000 little pieces. And then you're on a base 10 system rather than, 3/8, 1/4 and all that. So you take 1 inch, you cut it up into 1,000 little pieces, and then you talk about things as how many of those 1,000 little pieces it is. So a human hair is like 5,000 1,000ths of an inch. So this blade is 118 thousandths. So a little more than 1/10 of an inch. So 1/8 inch is 125.
I got you.
So this is 118 versus 105. That's not a real big difference. And then the overall, what's the overall here? They say factory edge 20 per side, so 40 degrees on the factory edge of this one. Handle thickness, weight. Where is width? blade length. Okay, there it is. Overall length on this knife is 6.5 inches. So a Mako is 7.
Right.
A minnow is 5.25. By the way, your knife is in the mail.
Oh, thank you, dude. I
You'll probably
look
get
forward to checking it out.
Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, and yeah, interesting. But 330 for an outsource. Now they're probably dealing with some tariffs on that.
Has that affected the price to consumer a good bit? I haven't noticed it much. Like on I guess on Amazon, knives have gotten more expensive.
Well, it depends on the manufacturer. So you can play some games and get around with it, right? Like, so if you own the company of import and you own the company of import and the company of export, and you're the same company, you can kind of say whatever price you want. Like, so, you can say, well, this only cost us $10 to produce. I mean, I'm sure it was more than that, and then your tariff is only on $10 rather than $330.
I got you.
So it wouldn't necessarily be quite as dramatic as the tariff. If the tariff goes up, if you have a 20% tariff on something, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be 20% more. It depends what their margin is and what costs are. So it could be half that, could be a quarter of that, could be 60% of that. It just depends on the product. Anyway, it's a complicated thing, but make no mistake, it makes things more expensive.
Right.
And we pay for it. So
it's passed down depending on how much they absorb internally or whatnot.
Yeah. It's an expense, but cool little knife. I like it. In my opinion, what's that word they made up? Tamagotchi grind, or what is it?
Oh, Fibonacci. It's a Fibonacci has something to do
with
with
Tamagotchi better though.
Remember those things? Those little guys in the machine, yeah. That mine always died. But the Fibonacci has something to do with physics. There's some kind of mathematical equation that's not solvable or something. I forget.
So does a wedge.
Could be. It has nothing to do with an actual grind.
Physics. Yeah, I think it's a little gimmicky.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
It's probably so one of the things, it is very hard for a machine to grind a zero Scandi. Clearly, there are machines that do it. Mora makes tons of them. But in the regular grinding world, it's pretty hard to do because you got to hit 0, which is really hard to do. There's no room for error. But anyway, what I'm thinking about doing is making a Scandi Vex, which is the thing. So the blade's almost down to 0, but it's like 1,000s, 2,000s, something like that. And then finish it off on a slack belt. That's basically how Bark River makes knives, by the way.
Okay.
Finish it off, and then you have a nice convex edge. And that accomplishes a lot of what the Tamagotchi grind here does.
And for someone who sharpens knives, you can't really, like, I've got a Bark River, a little tiny one that I've never sharpened and will never need to, called the Micro Canadian, but it's got that little rolled, like, it looks like a zero edge, but you just explained it. But there's no way without a slack belt for me to maintain it unless I want to change the way it's sharpened. Or
every I have 1 or 2 Bark Rivers, and I immediately put a V edge on them.
Okay.
I am
not uncommon.
In certain contexts, especially like hard use bushcraft, there's something to be said for a convex edge. That's why axes are convex edges. So, there's something to be said for them. But one of the things Bark River says is that, kind of like that's the best edge for everything, and that's just simply not true. So,
of course not.
It's got its place. It's got its place, and a bushcraft is a good place that it can have. So, but if I do that, then I can start getting. I'm a year behind on bushcraft knives, at least maybe a year and a half. People,
so you need some time for that hobby to get really kicking, so you can keep up with it.
Well,
if it is in fact on the growth,
it's the thing with those is, because they're hand ground, they're hand surfaced. There's a lot of steps on them. But the cool thing is, if I send them to Larkin and get ground, and then we just finish them off on the slack belt like we do, I can probably carve $100 out of that price. So
now, is Larkin just a partner who will do that for you? They have other machinery, or they have more hands, or both?
Larkin probably ground half the knives you've ever handled that were American made.
Okay.
Not only do they grind for companies like me, and like us mid-sized companies, or I'm really small. I'm a small company. But they grind for like the big boys, like Benchmade. When Benchmade has their own grinders, but when they need a lot of something, or there's capacity
Have
issues,
over capacity.
yeah, Larkin would be grinding for them, but it's a minimum of 300 blades.
Interesting. I did not even know that type of offshoot company existed, which is healthy for the economy, I guess, and for everybody concerned. But how do you
It's like
transport
$500,000 of getting one of those machines. So
okay, so it is a machine that's doing those grinds.
it's a machine. It's actually a twin machine, one for the one side, one for the other. It's got a wheel, maybe a 20-inch wheel that is maybe 3 inches wide or whatever, and it's CNC, and it's liquid cooled, and it grinds the machine, and then it measures the wheel between every blade to see what wear there was. It does phenomenal work. So those Makos will go out to heat treat. We'll go around the perimeter. We'll clean off the surface. They'll come back to us, and then, they're at us. Then we'll send to heat treat. They come back from heat treat. Then we send them to Larkin. Then Larkin double disc grinds them to thickness. So they're at 125. They'll go down to 105.
Okay.
And then they put the edge on them, and they come back to us. And then we check them out, sharpen them, put scales on them, laser them with our logo. And so that's I call that the PG series, precision ground.
Right.
So which is different. The Bushcrafts are CU series, of custom, more of a custom knife. But I'm able to carve prices out. And the big thing, I think, did we mention 3D printed scales?
Yes, you would mention it again. How I think it's a great way to keep costs at.
I'll be interested in your thoughts on it once you get one, to see, whether or not, like, you're like, oh, I don't like the feel of this. It makes it lighter. It makes it meaningfully lighter. They're solid. There's no hollow in there. It's completely filled. But it's interesting at knife shows. Not too many people care.
I wouldn't think they would know, except for the lightness, which is a good thing if you're packing in a knife or carrying it every day.
They often don't know unless I tell them, and I do tell them,
because they're full tang. So why do you need extra rigidity and durability on each side of the full tang knife?
Not to mention that the strength of a 3D print is stronger than most wood. So, yeah.
Yeah, and some people, I think it's just the like Todd says, the fan of plastic. But what I'm seeing, and I'm trying to think of who it was, it'll come to me in a little bit, but you can't tell in your hand. For one, this is not plastic, but Grip Tex. Have you seen that stuff yet? Am I pronouncing it right? That new?
Yeah. I have a piece of it. I haven't put it on a knife yet.
I hear it's messy. Jacob at Very Good Knife Company says it's a mess to work with. It messes everything up, belts and clothes.
Yeah.
But it feels to me really, really cool. What are they printing with? Lancelot Leather, a killer leather maker. Master Joda says, what material are they printing with?
They are PET G, carbon fiber infused PET G.
Okay.
So most of your tchotchkes and stuff you see at the farmer's market that people are printing out are PLA, which is like a corn-based thing, but it's popular. It prints nice. It's cheap, but it breaks down under UV. It actually is biodegradable, I think. So on towards
which is not good on a knife.
No, it's not great on a knife. So Pet G's resistant to UV. The colors aren't going to fade as much. It's stronger in some ways. Pet G's rigid. No, PLA's rigid. Pet G's a little less rigid, but the carbon fiber makes it dimensionally stable. But for the people who don't like it, I do have G10 scales.
Sure.
But it's really like, and they're $30 extra, so 30 or 35. So it really comes down to what's more important to you, $30 or G10. But
Right.
it, but it, but it makes it. I really would. I grew up kind of poor. As a kid, my parents were. My mom was on food stamps, a single mom, and prices. And I can be a little price sensitive. I mean, I buy a bunch of expensive stuff I don't need all the time now, but there was a time when I couldn't and
And you
didn't,
haven't lost sight of that, which is commendable.
and so if you can get, I talked to a Benchmade employee for like 45 minutes at this knife show, and I'm like, dude, what are you guys doing with your prices? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just out of control. And basically, he's like, I know. The problem is you can't lower your price once you've raised it, really. Because if you were somebody who bought a knife for, let's say, $300, and all of a sudden they decide to lower the price to $200, and you paid $3, and now the used price, they are open source files for the scales. They're on my website.
There you go,
Um,
Joe.
um, so yeah, so somebody can just download that file and print them out, whatever color, whatever material they want with their price.
Right.
And they're
As
becoming. I bought my 11-year-old a 3D printer because he was always bugging me to use mine. I have two up here, and he's used it almost every day since Christmas. And I'm hoping that eventually he learns how to draw, like draw in 3 dimensions, and he's starting to learn how to use the slicer, which you can change some stuff, scale it, and do some different things. So I think it's really, the kind of gift that tricks him into learning something that's useful.
and the
But
fact that he's been using it daily is awesome. I mean, that's
yeah, every day.
that's
Every day.
what's he creating? Is he just getting open source stuff that he's getting off the internet
Yeah.
and printing it? Okay.
Well, it's a Bamboo, and Bamboo has their store. It's not like they have their little area where you can download, but there's zillions of things on Maker World, I think is what it's called. And so he just downloads stuff and makes it, and and sometimes they fail, and he's got to figure out why. And like, it's it's really a great gift for a kid, even though it was a little more expensive than I like to spend on him for Christmas.
But look
But
how long and how engaged he is. I
oh
mean,
yeah, and
look,
he's all in the train, so he's printing out. He likes trains, so he's always printing train stuff. So that's his. Like he printed out a big Lionel logo that we got some it printed pretty thin, but in multicolor, and so he like glued it to a sweatshirt that we got, so he could have this logo, Lionel sweatshirt, like that kind
very
of thing.
cool.
Yes, it's been a good gift. It's a cool thing, but all that today, the not a lot of knife makers are using 3D printers a lot, and I use them the way they do too, for like printing out jigs or fixtures, or little tools to do different things around the knife shop. So they're great for that, but very few that I'm aware of are actually making the finished product using what you would call 3D printing, additive manufacturing. So it's really cool. But there are people and that are just not into it. I don't like plastic. Okay. But
I have a solution. Choose G10
yeah,
at checkout.
you can get G10. And at the end of the day, G10 and micarta are sort of plastic. I mean, it's epoxy, so it's not exactly plastic, but it's a sort of petrochemical concoction.
Correct.
It gets hard.
Correct. Correct. Doesn't my
So,
car
like,
start as fabric or something like that, and then pressed with a bunch of goo?
they're both kind of epoxy based or phenolic, but G10 has a fiberglass mat, and micartas have some kind of organic paper, canvas, linen, what have you. So that's the difference. G10 is much more durable than micarta, I think. It's almost indestructible. It's really strong stuff. So,
Right.
but it, but I would say 3D printed, the carbon fiber 3D printed is, I think, as strong or stronger than most woods. And
And I
nobody
would
says,
think the
"Oh, I can't believe you
technology,
put, wood on the handle."
no doubt. I
Yeah.
don't
So
know if we talked about this last time. I think we did, because I couldn't figure out where the value came from, but the store that I work at just bought 27 Randall from Orlando, Florida
oh
knives
yeah,
that I guess are big collector knives.
oh yeah. I
And
try to
a
like
lot of
them.
wood, and a lot of perceived value there in those three cabinets.
Their thing is stag. They do a lot of stag.
There's some
handles.
stag and I think some ivory, if I'm not mistaken, and some of their
But the thing is, Randall was early to the game, knife making, but most of their knives, I believe, are 1095.
Yep, that's
Um,
correct. And they have them stamped either stainless. I don't know what kind of stainless, because they don't say. I think the guys at the shop say it's similar to 440 HD. Is that something?
HE,
Is there a 440H or something?
HC, high
Okay.
carbon. Yeah.
And then they have a
That's what Buck
carbon,
uses.
a carbon that doesn't have the stainless on the blade, which is a carbon steel, which you're probably right.
1095, I think this is what they use. But here's the thing: people don't buy those things to go out and use them anymore. There was a time where they did.
Right.
They are
And
in
they
Florida.
got big after World War II in the military or something, is the lore I hear. Or is that incorrect?
Yes. Yeah. Like guys in World War II, we get them. And a lot of guys that came back and they just grew, and it's like there's a year or two or no 5-year wait if you order one today or something.
Yeah.
It's the thing about the knife community is there are all these lanes, in the knife community. Like the forging guy that was sitting next to me is in a totally different lane in the knife world than I'm in. And, and Randall's like its own. Randall's like an HOV lane. Like
Correct.
they've got their own thing. There's Randall guys, just like there's Case. There's Case guys, and then there's starting to be like Spyderco is starting to have its own following. And
yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And they're more engaged with the maker than people on the internet would ever probably know. I mean, I know that the Randall buyers come from all over the place. The phone rings from all over the place when people are asking about, did you get a model this or a model that? To me, they don't look. They're hard to take a picture of because they don't fit on the screen, most of them, and they're just big knives.
Somebody said Randall and Bark River seem related. They are not related at all in terms of organizationally, but I guess they're related in the sense that they're both sort of factory custom looking knives. Knives coming out of factory there. I'll say for, Bark River makes their knives somewhat similar to me, but I bolt on my scales now. I don't glue up scales anymore
Right.
for a number of reasons. One, I like the connection better. I like to be able to take it off, clean up the knife. So that's just a preference, but they're gluing up their knives. A lot of their knives, they use loveless bolts, which are like, well, loveless bolts are loveless bolts, but they put their knives together, which means there's a lot of grinding and cleanup after you put them on. Bark River makes knives with guards, or at least they did, which is pretty uncommon anymore. That's a lot of trouble to put a guard on a knife, and unnecessary. So yeah, it's so there's some similarities in those ways. Like I've thought about, so I almost bought, there's this knife maker. If you go to it, his name is Robert Appleby. and he makes Loveless style knives.
Appleby, like the restaurant, singular.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's how it's spelled. I almost bought a knife from
Let
him.
me see if I can
Andrew
find.
Demko bought a knife from him. A really nice. It's called a Big Bear. It's a it's a big nasty
I
knife.
found him.
Yeah, he makes Loveless knives as well as Loveless did. And a Loveless knife, like a drop point hunter today is $5,000 knife. Yeah, there you go. So scroll down a little. Where'd you go? That's right. That's a much younger Robert there in that picture. I'll say.
Can you see
that's
it?
A big, that's a Big Bear right there. I think that's what they call that knife. The Ronin to the right, the green micarta there. That is spot on.
That's a double guard.
Yeah, that is a lot of work. $3,000 is a screaming deal for that. It sounds expensive, but that's great. That's the one that I think he sold to Andrew.
Yeah, I mean the swedge looks like it has as much work and grind as the grind does. That makes sense. I mean, is that is what I'm trying to understand that grind?
It's not sharpened on both sides, but it is a double edge. I think the top is what they call a false edge.
And that's a shorter one. That's a baby bears. He calls those.
A baby
which
bear,
looks like they have just as much work as the Big Bear.
There's a nice stag knife. I mean, look at that work. That is just spectacular. The amount
that's
of work
impeccable.
it takes to make that. He's doing those guards manually on a mill.
I can't imagine.
Like that leather work is also extremely good. Yeah, I'm trying to see if he has a.
I'm trying to think. Pennsylvania is where he's making those. It says
Yeah.
What's that? Or is it Chappaqua, New York? I can't.
No, it's Pennsylvania.
What a gorgeous specimen. Yeah, and he's doing the sheath too in house.
Yep. Yeah. He's been making that for a long time. Now he's I think he retired from his main job. Go down, see if there's a drop point hunter. I mean, I do have one of his knives. He made a Mako for me.
Tell me if you see it, because a drop point could be a lot.
So
is this it
right there?
Here?
That's one there. That's a stag version of it, but yeah, that's it. Yeah. Or is
what
that
an awesome little knife?
So it was $550 for that. Like that's a screaming deal.
Go ahead.
I wanted one of those so bad, but it was just like, it's just going to sit in my closet. It's going to sit in my closet. Hold on a minute. I'm going to get a knife for you.
Go ahead. I'm going to keep looking at his stuff because I can't.
I gave a blank to him to make in his style a Mako, and he made a Mako in his style. So I'll go down and get it.
Awesome. I'm going to get back to the chat here in just a second, but look at that Damascus. I wonder if he's 188 layer Texas Wind Damascus, 1095, 1084, 15N20, and nickel tools, leather slips. I mean, what a craftsman. You guys still here? What's up, everybody? See, when I'm over there, like, what's up, Gareth? What is up, everybody? I want to make the Mr. Appleby go away for a second so that when Gary comes back to show us what he's got, I can make him big. Uh-oh. There we go. Uh-oh. I hate StreamYard. There he is. Let me see if I can get it to go back to normal. Hold on, Gary. I'm going to add you back and see if that does it. I don't know why StreamYard makes me do that. Thanks, Richard. He shared your website.
All right. So
I'm going to make you big whenever you want me. All right.
That's a Mako with stag.
I was about to say that looks like your knife.
Yeah, it is my knife. I gave him a blank. So that's
Damascus.
from another Pennsylvania guy.
With
One
the
of the
bolster,
early guys
wow.
with the pattern. It's hard to, I don't know if I can focus on that pattern.
It's stunning. You can tell.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the stag and red liners.
Wow.
So
So
it was
that
just,
a put away piece now, right?
yeah, it's just a fun piece. My design and his style of knife making. It was just a fun little
That is gorgeous.
project. It is. It is. Man, if I had to put that much effort into each Mako, I'd only get out like 10 a year.
But like you say, it's probably an economy of he does less, puts more, and charges.
Yeah, this should be a $500-$600 knife.
Yeah, I mean, just the materials. I can imagine what that stag and that what you call it, Damascus or Mokume or whatever you call that beautiful, because it's kind of a metal on the bolster, right? Definitely.
Yeah, it's a Damascus on the bolster. Remember we were talking about the guy that makes Damascus for Cabot knives?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean for Cabot guns. That's this guy who makes this. Robert Eggerling is his name. Robert Eggerling. And yeah, he's like, this is really detailed stuff. This is really nice. I haven't looked at this in a while. But yeah, it's
What was his last name again?
Eggerling.
Edgarling.
Egger, like eggs. AEGGERLING. Robert
I'm just seeing if
Eggerling.
his work.
This comes up.
No, I'm not seeing him, but the Damascus that Appleby uses is impressive. That Texas, it looks like he's pretty. I mean, he's got a lot of covers. What's in the water in Pennsylvania that makes you guys all so talented?
I don't know. We like to make stuff here.
I mean, no doubt.
There's a link to Eggerling. Although it's not. I don't know.
I see it. Eggerling Damascus. Let me pull it up. I can pull it up over here. Let me share that. And he's you said Pennsylvania guy too?
He's right down the road from me, yeah. But he's like 93 years old.
Mosaic Damascus.
He lives up on the mountain and on like an old school shop. It's pretty cool. I've been to his shop. There he is.
A forge and everything.
Oh yeah, and it's really unique patterns. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, see what kind of stuff. And this is just materials that somebody could buy and use, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I got to buy a few more pieces off him just because he's getting up there.
Would you use it for just specialty pieces or just to have in case you wanted to work with it?
Use it for specialty pieces. They're usually small pieces, so I end up having to weld on more steel to the other side.
I got you. Yeah, because they are very small pieces. I don't know how to get out of this screen. There we go. Is that him right there? An older gentleman?
Him. That's up at his shop.
I mean, so that's probably been done for generations that way. Or was he the first guy that started doing it?
He was an early guy starting to make those patterns. He was an early guy starting to make those patterns. So he makes a billet like that, but then he cuts it. He like slices it like meat. And that's why the pieces are so small. Because it's not like a bar.
So, Gary, was the market always knife makers or other people like gun makers, you said, use it too? I mean, who was his market 50 years ago when he
50 years ago would have been knives. Yeah, it would have definitely been knives. But
that looks over 100 years old. What is that, a press or a forge?
Yeah, you know, here's the funny thing. He's been doing it. He's like 93 years old. He didn't start till he was in his 50s.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it a
Yeah.
passion project or just?
I don't know. He's the type of guy. I mean, I don't know exactly the details, but he lives up there on the mountain. I get the sense he doesn't come off that mountain too often.
Right. He's kind of like a fixture.
He's kind of like a mountain man up there. You know, he's just out in the country. I live in an interesting spot. I'm in the Lehigh Valley, so of Pennsylvania, which is the third biggest metro area, and so to my east is Allentown and Bethlehem and Easton. You know, like Bethlehem Steel, like malls, every kinds of store and everything you would want. And so you go that way, it's like that. If you go west of me, it drops off what we call it Pennsyltucky. It drops off to like Appalachia,
Gotcha.
like very quickly. And
Very
so,
rural, very impoverished.
yeah, it's not impoverished
It's
as
just
much.
rural.
Just rural. Yeah. You get far enough, it starts getting impoverished. But, and he lives in that, you know, you could be in the middle of the state forest up there and you wouldn't, you know, it's not, you could just drive a few, like I said, he's only like 4 miles away, but
Civilization, but it's so secluded that it has a
yeah,
sense to its
he's
own.
yeah, he's out in the country a little bit, but it's cool. He's a cool guy. It's a cool shop, and he makes that Damascus. And he was one of the early ones. I wouldn't say he was the very first, but he was definitely one of the early ones making that.
Anyone know anyone who customizes buck 119s or 117s? I'm sure there are people that do. I'm not aware. Are you, Gary?
I know one guy, but he's way up in Canada, Kyle Noseworthy. He's he does buck 110s now. I'm sure if he does a 110, he'll do a 119 or you know, fixed blades.
Yeah, I would think so too. If he's got the capacity to do 110s, unless he's got too much 110s coming out of his lap.
Yeah, he would probably do it. He does some nice conversions and stuff like that. It's just a matter of getting. He's got a YouTube channel. His name's Kyle Noseworthy. Look him up on YouTube. Yeah, I can look him up.
Did you get that Toyota in Tools? Let me see if I can find him. But
He's
it's amazing.
He's got a
the
great
people
channel too.
And what'd you say is throw that out there one more time, Gary.
Kyle Noseworthy.
Or what is
Let's see if I can find him.
I found him, I think. 138,000 owner of KN Knives.
That's him.
All right. I'm subscribed, as a matter of fact. So here's Kyle. For those of you who are interested in getting some
I saw the
restoration
one
work
with
done.
Mammoth.
Huh?
I was just answering a comment there. He did one with Mammoth recently.
I just clicked it. Buck 110 custom.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff.
I don't know if y'all have noticed my thumbnails changed in the last couple of days. These are AI thumbnails too that he uses that just go into your video and pull them out. I apologize, but AI is nailing it more than I can. But his work looks impeccable. Look at that. And he's got, guys, I'm going to drop his link in the chat. Let me go back to his homepage. Looks like he's got PP content too.
That's one of his knives. I have one of his knives.
Let me stop sharing. Hold on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rustic. I just wanted some of his work, because I would watch his videos as I was learning to make knives as well, and sort of kind of see what he was up to.
How long have you been making knives, Gary? Or I should know, but I don't.
Maybe like 11 years now, something like that.
I got you.
You know, my regret is not starting earlier, but
well, we can't live in our regrets. I'm sure you don't, for sure. But the fact that you started and you're making such cool knives, you got plenty of time to perfect your craft. And you sound like you've got reinforcements behind you, whether they're interested or not. Have any of them shown interest? Has your son shown interest in your knife making?
The oldest one, no, but he's a graphic designer. He's in school for graphic design, so there's certainly work he could do for the knife company. Like he designed the minnow. Minnow comes in a tube, and there's a sticker that goes on that tube. He designed that. So his work might be in the marketing and graphic side of
Very
the business.
cool.
And then Martin, the 11-year-old, who knows?
Right now, he could print you out of business, but from his bedroom.
He could. Well, yeah, he was at the second day of that show, and this show was a little boring for him. So in some shows, I'm like the expensive guy. But in this show, I'm like the cheap guy. So like everything's expensive there. So at like the Lehigh Valley Knife Show, which is coming up, there's lots of local vendors. There's lots of guys selling like $5, Swiss Army knives. And
Sure, because the place of entry or cost of entry for a table is much less.
Yeah, it's like 40, or actually it's up to about 90, but still a lot cheaper than 800. But yeah. So how many people normally watch your Tuesday? Now, the last time I was on, there was like 25, 30. Today, there's only like 4.
No, you're looking at we got 39 total. So I don't know. I've got 2 streams out there. I've got a landscape and a portrait. So there might be 4 watching the vertical.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking at the vertical, I've got it for mobile viewers. And if you go to the other, I think StreamYard combines them. We got about 37 viewers. And then on replays, I get right around 250.
Oh, I see. Okay. I was like, man.
I stream it. StreamYard gives you the opportunity to broadcast it both ways. So when YouTube started pushing shorts to compete with TikTok, I guess, it was before I'd ever done a spoken word video on YouTube. I started making shorts, a little 15-second of just me opening a knife, and started a channel. So I did shorts exclusively for a year before I ever did a spoken word regular video. But I still do a lot of shorts, and that's why my channel gets subscribers. So in that vein, allegedly, and it doesn't happen anymore, but if you put your live stream out in that vertical format, YouTube would put it in their short stream, which would usually translate into a lot more viewers. The bad news is you get viewers like that crazy spam guy that came in. But I haven't seen any increase, a little bit, in viewership by having that format out there. But it does give people that are on a mobile only, allegedly, a better viewership experience, according to YouTube. But most of my viewers hate it. They always choose the landscape or the regular.
I see. I must have just inadvertently clicked on there. So here's a fun knife story for you. When I was around 14, I was fishing a fair amount, and my parents would go camping, and we lived in a place where we lived not too far from a river. So every day in the summer, we'd be down the river fishing. So anyway, that's where I sort of developed more of the knife stuff. And back in those days, this would have been late 80s. If you wanted a knife, you were somewhat limited in the ways in which you could get them. So,
absolutely.
But one of the common ways, one of the big ways at the time, was the Bass Pro Shops catalog.
Mm-hmm.
You get all kinds of fun stuff on there. And so there was this knife on sale. And, in my teenage brain, bigger was better. And so this knife, I think at the time, was like $90. It was on sale, like it was $300 or $250 or something. And it says Heritage USA. It's Heritage USA on it.
Look at that guard.
Yeah, it's a Western, I believe. I believe this is made by Western. And it's 1095, which, in my youth, I didn't really understand what the difference between carbon steel and stainless steel was. But yeah, it's like a nickel silver guard. I mean, this
So
is
it looks
really nice.
amazingly well taken care of.
It is. I want to buff it out even some more to get it back to its original. But I have no idea. I'm almost positive this was made by Western. And you know what Heritage USA was?
No.
This is a quiz for the 80s people. Anybody in the comments know what Heritage USA was?
Give them just a second to see if somebody throws it out there.
See, that's the quiz of the night. I'll give you 4 of my custom knives. No, I won't. I'm only kidding.
I'm trying to think because that's my time period, and Heritage USA doesn't ring a bell, but it makes me think back of a catalog or something.
You will know it when I tell you what it is.
Nobody's throwing anybody out there. You got 10 seconds, or your answer doesn't count. 8, 7.
All right.
Go ahead, Gary.
Heritage. Well, here's another organization that you may or may not know. Do you remember the PTL network?
PTL.
PTL stood for Praise the Lord. The Lord.
Yeah.
So,
and it would go late at night, right?
Jim Baker, Tammy Faye.
Tammy Faye and Jim. Baker, yes, I do.
PTL network. Ray's Heritage USA was like their Christian amusement park thing.
Now I totally it's
and so that, to the best of my knowledge, as you recall, the PTL network came to an unceremonious end. So
opulence a little bit there, and other transgressions, we'll call them.
And so they ended up closing. So I think they had a bunch of these for their gift. This is totally my theory, but I think they had a bunch of these for their gift shop at Heritage USA. And obviously, Western had nothing to do with them. I'm totally making this up, but I think it's plausible.
And what is plausible? Great story.
And I think that they dumped them on Bass Pro Shops for super cheap, as to I could get that for $90 because I wasn't going to get anything much more expensive than that for my birthday. It was for my birthday. And so it's a fun little life story.
Did you carry that thing when y'all go camping and stuff?
I did. It's terrible. What a terrible choice. There was so many better. I'd been better off getting like an Almar folder back then, or or even an earlier Spyderco or a Buck than that.
See, I graduated in '85, and Rambo was a big influence in my knife liking early on, like the sawback, stuff like that. Big overbuilt stuff that I can admire, but I used to actually carry out in the woods, allegedly, when I was a kid or a teenager.
Okay, look up. All right, here's another knife maker for you to look up. Sam Wilson knives. See if he comes up for you.
All right. Wilson Custom Knives. I think that's Sam's. Let me see. Are they survival knives? Share. Let's see if this is it. Because I put in Sam Wilson knives and this came up.
Show me what you got.
Custom. Let's see.
I'm sure he's on Instagram, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Well, you know what that is then.
Absolutely.
He makes Jimmy Lyle style real Rambo knives. That's he doesn't call it that because they're, but this is a legit, style Rambo knife. That green handle. He was next to me at a knife show, and every bone in my body wanted to buy that knife.
This long one that I've got right here, did I go past the green handle?
No,
This,
no, the first one, the Rambo knife, the green
oh, the
handle.
Rambo knife. Got you.
That's First Blood. Well, not, yeah, that's First Blood right there. And every part of me wanted to buy that. Man, when I was a kid,
screams
I
at
would,
you.
and it was like, how much was it? $1,200, something like that. So for a knife that big and the good leather work and everything, it's not a bad price. I did buy one of its other knives, but it really just tickled that little 80s kid in me. That yeah, I graduated high school in 94, so I'm a little younger, but
Still, I'm gonna find his well, I guess he doesn't have Instagram. He's got Pinterest.
okay.
I haven't been on Pinterest.
And so like he's got all like the cap of that is inside is a compass, and then like he comes with stuff like hook and like all the
fishing line and survival stuff.
Yeah. Man, do I like that knife.
You can't help but like that knife.
There's just something about my childhood that makes me want that.
And heaven forbid, I'll never forget. I went to Blade Show 2 years ago with my buddy Dark Gravity. A lot of people on here know him. He did some stuff in the military. I don't know what, but his son was with us. He was 13 years old, and he was looking for kind of a zombie slayer, a zombie apocalypse knife. And I forget the company we found. He ended up buying one, but his son was doing all these moves and stuff and said, I hope nobody comes up on me. And his dad said something, I think that was pretty true. He says, hey, and he looked at him with a very serious look. He goes, hope you don't have to use that, for self-defense, because it's damn messy. And you could tell he's been there before. And I can't imagine a Rambo knife being, the way old Rocky used it, or Sylvester Stallone. Those sawbacks were pretty messy. But I had the little sharpening stone. You're not going to get a knife like that sharp on a 2-inch stone.
If you got diamond and you got skill, you can.
Well, true. That's a fact. But if you're a kid in Huntsville, Alabama, buying it, you're not going to be able to get it sharp. But the ones you bought in Huntsville, Alabama weren't made like that, and you couldn't get sharp anyway.
There was tons of cheap, junky Rambo style knives out there that broke. Heck, Harbor Freight sells one for like $12.
Exactly. And a lot of our stuff in those days, you'd get from the back of a TV guide, or you get it from the back of a, rarely the every now and then you'd get the Bass Pro Shop catalog. I'm trying to think where else. A.G. Russell, is that a thing?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You used to get a knife catalog.
I wasn't familiar with that, but I'm more familiar with it now. I got to meet A.G. before he died. Now, Paul says he can't bring himself to spend much over $300 for a fixed blade. Now, Paul, I'm sorry to hear that. But you're probably at the point of diminishing returns at $300 with a fixed blade. Anything much beyond that, you're not paying for more tool. You're just paying for childhood material,
or
or bling, or cachet of the maker, or collectability, or future
Fibonacci grind.
Yeah, Fibonacci Tamagotchi grind.
But that's a good, honest thing to say. I mean, at $300, you kind of maxed out your utilitarian value, right?
Yeah, in terms of the value of it as an actual cutting tool, and it performing any better after 300. Now, depending, I mean, if you get something really large, then then it can be whatever. But yeah, it's I get that. I get that sense. You're certainly getting into more of the collector range, and that's just the thing. If I spend $1,200 on that Rambo knife, I'm not going to see if I can cut a limb off of a tree, even though that's exactly what I would want to do with it.
Correct, because you spent that much for it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that, because that's a whole other reason that certain people buy, is to collect. And the guy that sold the Randall's collection to the knife store was not as picky when they were trying to figure out, hammer out what I think is an exorbitant price. But the guy that was selling them said, man, I'm making money on that no matter what, because I bought these knives. They've appreciated, right? Certain knives, if you buy them and you store them properly and care for them, they're going to gain value unless something cataclysmic happens. I think cases are that way. I think definitely Randall's. This guy bought these Randall's over the years and they only appreciated.
Yeah. Randall's are definitely a pretty secure buy in that regard. But again, as a person who values performance and function, to buy a knife, and that's why I ended up getting like the Boker and the Demco, because I will use those.
Correct.
And that I really appreciated that drop point hunter. That would have been a great knife for out in the woods because it's 154 cm. Like that would have been a functional knife, but I won't use that now. That will sit next to this in the cabinet.
Right, because it's collectible.
It's sort of a waste of money.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a shame that it's not, you don't have that same form in a more usable that you'd be willing to use. But again, a lot of it's tied to who made it, right? And the replaceability of something like that.
Yeah.
So I think there's a place for both, but I think your focus, speaking of utilitarian, here comes a killer into the frame. Nobody can see him because there's his tail. And it's nuts. He's about to jump up on that cat right there has got a head the size of a cantaloupe. He's pretty much a wild cat. But anyway, he's gone now. I can breathe. I get nervous with him around. But I do let him in.
Yeah. Here's another knife from my past that this is probably a knife I got when I had the Blue Ridge thing when I was in college. But this is a little rusty. It's a little rusty.
A SOG.
Yeah, old school. I never used this for much of anything. And it's not stainless. What the heck?
But it's coated, right? With some kind of...
It is, but the coating isn't stopping the rust. Yeah, it's probably Parkerized, I would guess. But this is this is definitely more of a, self-defense, stab somebody in the throat kind of thing.
Yeah, or around the campsite if you want to have a cool knife that you can still chop stuff with and cut stuff with. I'm sure that's got a pretty decent edge, or is it kind of a rolly edge?
Yeah, it's a decent edge. It's decent.
I think your Blue Ridge story was classic. I think that's the coolest thing to get you and your buddy some good deals on knives.
That was fun.
That catalog is obnoxiously thick, and they've got a website too. But the fact that they keep printing catalogs to me is, why not just save that cost? It's got to be in the...
Who's ordering from a catalog? I mean, come on.
Well,
somebody, but most people not.
When I think the people that own a lot of these knife stores are older, and maybe they start looking through, because I don't think you can order through the catalog, but I think they like thumbing through it because it's the pages on this big thick ass thing you can tell have been thumbed through quite a bit. And it's something that I guess a knife store goes back to and orders and decides if they want to try something different. I've learned that they view space a lot differently than I do. They look at it, what you can display space, and what that's going to yield in return. It's totally different than the way I would have thought a knife store looked at what they carried. Brick and mortar, that is.
Yeah, and it's always tricky figuring out what people want, and it's always tricky finding out what people got. Did you guys follow the Survive Knives saga?
I came in on the late side of it, and ironically enough, coming in on the late side of the drama of it, there was a knife when I first started working. Had I known what it was, I would have brought it home and reviewed it. It was a Survive knife because I ended up selling it like my second week there, and it was extremely well-made knife, but the fact that there was a physical survived knife in that store, order that had been fulfilled made me think of how many went unfulfilled for that one knife. But a heck of a specimen of a big knife. I forget the model name. It was in an unassuming box with a USA sticker on it. We'd bought it secondhand.
This is not a big knife. It's a mid-sized knife, though.
That's a survive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that's a fantastically well-made knife? Or
It's good.
I mean,
there are other knives that are just as good.
Really? Okay. I've heard people say that he was a great maker, but a terrible.
He wasn't a maker at all. He was.
Did he just have it done, or
other people? He did some stuff himself, but I mean, like, you couldn't give him a bar of steel and he would come out with a knife. Like, he started doing what I did with Larkin. Started doing that way, but he was displeased with Larkin because he's sort of a detail freak kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they wanted to try to move it in house and blah 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 blah. And anyway, long story short, they started getting behind and they were taking full price orders up front. And they were getting further behind. But what he would do is take finished knives down to a local brick and mortar shop down below Gettysburg in Maryland and sell them to them. These were orders that should have went out the door, and he was selling them to them. So I bought one from them. That's how I got it. Yeah.
At the time, you probably didn't know that was going on, did you?
I didn't. I knew that he had back orders. I didn't know that he was finishing knives. And I have a year back order for a few of my knives. Now they're not full price. They're just $35 deposit.
Right.
And so, if I go to a knife show, I'll have a handful of those knives, like those Folklores and Omnivores. I don't have those in stock, but I want to have something to show at the knife show. And so I pull a few aside and do that. I would never, like, I had a brick and mortar store ask me for Omnivores, and I was like, I can't do that because they're back ordered. Like, so, yes,
yeah,
they'll sell, but
it wouldn't be right to take them out of somebody's deposit and put them in someone's showroom to.
Right. So I avoid doing that, and I kind of keep a separate little stock of knives for knife shows. And so anyway, Survive was doing the opposite, and they got to the point where, they became, actually, it's one of the biggest scandals in the knife world. And
and that one guy got pulled into it who's got a channel and was going to try to save him.
Tactical.
Yeah.
I helped John from Heavyset Tactical. I kind of helped him get his knife business up and running. Showed him what grinders to get and how to do it, and not as much how to do it, but more like what to get, where to get it, and how to approach it. And he was actually making some pretty good knives. And then I don't know, he's got personal stuff going on or what. He just sort of disappeared.
It's one thing that I've noticed just talking to a few of you guys is you seem very willing to be cooperative as opposed to being gatekeepers in a way. And I'm sure there's some that are more gatekeepery, but talking to people like you, Jacob, I can't remember the first name of the guy from Carry Development. Because, like, when I walked around with my buddy Edgy American Blades, who you met, I apologize. The cat just stepped on the soundboard. Can y'all still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. It doesn't look the same. But they were very willing to help him with questions he had about making sheaths, what to get, tools to acquire if you wanted to do it on the cheap. And that's refreshing to see. And one of the things that Jacob told me from Very Good Knife Company, this was during the show, he walked around his table. He said, if something happened to me and I walked out and got hit by a bus, if I haven't shared what I've learned, that's all gone to waste. And I thought that was kind of a refreshing way to look at a skill like putting together knives and selling them. Because there are a lot of guys. I've got knives from a company. I don't know the history behind it, but Servant Knives. Are you familiar with them?
No, not
Small maker.
entirely.
I've got 2 of his knives, and he went away. I don't know if it just wasn't viable for him at some point. This is just one of his mech fighters in 3V.
Okay.
But I think it's a tough business, and to have people that will share their experience, whether it's been good or bad, to keep people from making similar mistakes. I think that's commendable. I think that's awesome. If Shane was here, my buddy Edgy American, who'd never heat treated a knife before, he was having them heat treated off site because of back orders in his small business. He had to get a heat treat oven and reached out to Alex Steingraber, who he'd never had a conversation with before about a certain metal Magna Cut. And Alex said, if you'll just set your oven to this and follow this protocol, you will not have a problem. And walked him through it. He said it was a lot less involved than he thought it would be. If you just follow these steps, like you said, I think last week, it's science at some point.
You know, in the knife world, it is pretty common that guys share. It was not always that way. Like probably in the 70s and 80s, guys wanted to keep things secret.
Proprietary type information stuff.
Yeah, and some of those guys, you know, I didn't know them like the Lovelaces and some of them, but they were pretty cantankerous from what I understand.
Right.
They could be pretty difficult. So there was more of that. I don't want to tell you how to do it, but I might tell you, but not you, kind of thing.
Right.
And so that's very different now. It's a very open community. You know, and it's not as competitive because we all know that people are going to buy more knives anyway. So, yeah.
I think it's awesome. And I think from the connections that you have, you're learning as much as you're sharing, it seems like. I mean, because it comes back to you. The universe provides, right? I mean, if you get in those circles where you're sharing knowledge, it would be helpful if you're getting good information back too that you can use to help shape what you're doing or give you aha moments.
I have a lot of back and forths with like Laren. Like I message Laren Thomas relatively on a regular basis. And so, you know, he's accessible and so there's a lot of cool things like that other industries would not be that way.
Right.
So definitely definitely a cool industry in terms of sharing without question.
Yeah, I agree, Todd. And there are some guys they'll look out for each other. And I think it's equally, you see some of these guys unfortunately disappear because in my experience, some of the best makers aren't the best at figuring out how to run a successful business or a sustainable business. It takes a different type of, I guess, acumen or brain power. I do have a tried and true that I traded Shane a Spyderco for, believe it or not. And then I had Master Joda at Lancelot Leather make the sheath for it. That's the tried and true that Steve and Alex did in collaboration. I'm scared to sit on it though. I'm a back pocket carry guy. And when Lancelot Leather made the sheath for me, we measured my back pocket to see how to place that clip. But I don't know if even my little ass on K390 is a good idea as thin as this is. I'll sit on my knife all day long. But it's got a little curve in the sheath from where I do. But I know it's strong enough to support me. I don't know about that thin K390. Yeah, Paul, it is. If it's a slight hollow because it's so thin. And And I guess Alex gets that with his CNC machine. I think it's a stepped hollow, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? I want to. If you grind a blade on a CNC, it's usually a cup wheel.
Okay.
It's not to say it always is, but that's kind of the new way guys are doing it now.
So I always thought of it as taking material off with a bit, but a cup wheel, is that so it's actually grinding it on CNC?
Mm-hmm. They can. Some guys
Yeah.
do. Like TJ Schwartz, for instance. That's how he makes his knives. Chris Reeves, that's how they make their knives.
Okay, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know that he's got a beautiful hollow, Chris Reeves knives, a brand that, like a lot of knives that I've come into love with, never caught my attention early on, but that's one that is my collection is needing. I've got a guy who's been coming by threatening to trade me this Umnenzon I think he's got, but he'll never tell me what he wants for it, like knife in return, knives, because I've got a lot of trade bait and he knows what I have, but I would like a Chris Reeves at some point. I think they're beautifully done.
I wanted a Chris Reeves. I have two now. How do I say this? Chris Reeves really was early to the game with a tight tolerance. I guess it's a frame lock, one-handed operation, really nice titanium knife. They were early and first to the game to it.
Yeah. I think the Chris Reeves integral frame lock was his kind of thing, right?
I'm not sure if he was the first, but he was certainly early. I don't know.
Yeah.
But these days that ain't no thing.
Correct.
And I actually prefer like bar locks and button locks more than frame locks personally. So, even like a compression lock on the Spyderco, I prefer. So anymore, there are a lot of knives I like the way they function better. And I don't get too excited about fit and finish. But Chris Reeves is excellent, the fit and finish.
The tolerances are outstanding.
Yeah. Yeah. But
there are others out there like not Craig Brown. I always get it wrong. Brown Knives, the aerospace engineer who makes knives that are just amazing to look at and to handle. And Grismo, which I'm not that familiar with, but I hear the tolerances there are outstanding.
They are.
I've handled one, but I've not looked at it up close.
But it becomes a thing where it's like, where's the law of diminishing returns? Like when Paul says he doesn't want to spend more than $300 on a fixed blade. There's certainly fixed blades way more than that.
Correct.
But do you start getting any more performance out of them? And the answer is probably not.
Right.
And same holds true. And at this point, Chris Reeves knives are like $500-$600.
I don't think you can get in on the new market for under $650. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I know that I think Rick and the Demkos are on the low end of what I consider that tier of manufacturing at the low $4s. But Chris Reeves, if I'm not mistaken, is in the $6s. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong where Chris Reeves large Sabenza starts. So, but for a dealer, there's a 5-year wait if you want to be a Chris Reeves dealer.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
But the secondary allegedly is pretty soft. That's where you can get a much better deal.
I'm sure I either traded mine for my knives or that's the way I usually get knives.
But that's a great way to be able to have something that's a viable trade bait, as I call it, that you're making yourself or that you came up with and you're having created. I think that's $565. Okay, Paul. And that was new, buddy?
I know. Wait, surprise.
I've got some crazy chatters. It's funny. And you don't like anytime you have a thought, you do not have to sugarcoat how you feel about it. It's just always shoot it straight. I think I think there's some makers out there that are overpriced, but at the same time, who am I to say if the market's delivering them enough buyers for them to stay in business, they just might not be right for me. They're evidently, yeah, I think you're right, Todd.
That sounds right. I just got the 22 and it was about that much. Of course, not for me, but yeah.
But yeah, that's what they go for.
Yeah. And it's a lot of knife at that price, if you ask me. A US made
Revolutionary lock.
Yeah,
That's
the
gorgeous.
Really cool. Like to me, for $450, I'd rather have this for $450 than a Chris Reeve for
100 more.
Yeah, 100 more. Now, some guys are really into titanium, and it's a cool material. I just, I don't know.
It's heavier.
Doesn't excite me. It's not. No, it's lighter than G10.
Is it lighter than G10?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Milled titanium.
Heavier than aluminum, but lighter than G10.
I guess because you can eliminate that steel liner.
Well, that too, but just pound for pound, inch for inch. It's a little lighter, but so there's so many other choices when you start to get like I have a dealer that wants to order about 15 knives, and I'm gonna put part of that order into a TRM with titanium scales, a Bulldog with titanium scales. So
very good choice.
A Bulldog with titanium scales, it's a $400 knife. So it's $150, $165 less than a Chris Reeves. And to me, I like that knife a lot better.
The Riverlock is amazing. The Bulldog is probably I love the Shadow, but the Bulldog size is exactly the same size as the Neutron, just a little bit thicker blade stock. And I'm a huge, huge fan. You will love that knife.
I have a Bulldog.
Oh,
so
you do?
I have a G10 Bulldog. So this is just, rounding out my collection, you see.
I got you. That's one that it's my favorite USA knife maker in terms of folder maker. I think the only one I don't have is the one before the Atlas. I've even got the Atlas slip joint. I don't have a titanium Shadow, but I did a titanium scale swap from a G10 Bulldog to a titanium Bulldog, and that was not easy.
So the 8020 XXL, that is silly big.
I can imagine that's got to be huge.
That at the show. Yeah, I saw that at the show.
I mean, the 8020 shoes, yours is a smaller version, right?
Yeah, 8022. This is probably along the lines of the Bulldog. It's a little handle heavy in terms of, but I prefer that. Yeah, I like it, and it has a sound.
Yeah, it's just,
you hear that closing sound?
Yeah, it's like just with authority.
Yeah, I like it. And I like that Andrew's one of my friends, and I like that, I've been to his shop, like he's a Pennsylvania guy, and so there's a connection there,
Oh, absolutely, that most people don't have, and a very valid connection.
And so, and I spent a fair amount of time talking to the owner of Three Rivers too. So I did, I'd like to do an OEM model with them, but yeah, I don't know.
They
don't have a ton of capacity to do that. They barely can get their own knives out.
Right. I was a fan of theirs long before I had a channel because of a guy who's sometimes in my chat, Sobek Scooter, is his screen name, and he always was touting TRM. And my first TRM I bought on the secondary was the Neutron, but instantly fell in love with Marianne and Lee after meeting them at a Nashville show. I went in deep on collecting their stuff. And I collect a lot of it. What's up, Robert? And Shady, you'll love, I don't know if you picked up the tag along. I just got a DLC tag along that I'm really loving.
Now you're going to have to tell me when you get the minnow which one you like better.
I definitely will. Keep in
And
mind,
I won't be offended if it's not mine. I like mine better, but I'm biased.
well, I can tell you this. I like your handle better. I've held the minnow. I love the way it stayed. This is, to me, a 3-finger dedicate. I mean, it's kind of directing your grip to be that way.
And it's a
I'm
much
not,
thinner profile.
I don't like a drop point that droppy.
And the sheath is quite large for for the overall package. So I just ordered some ring chain, ball chain, so that especially for the minnow, people can put it on a necklace. I was just going to do paracord, but somebody said you can hang yourself with that. So
I've heard that. I've heard that the chain is a much safer option, and also if you have spies coming up behind you or ninjas, they can use it to strangle you.
yeah, and that's a big problem. I've a lot of times in my life I've had ninjas come up behind me and strangle me, and I'm really looking to avoid that in the future.
Todd, my favorite lock, and by no coincidence, the one that I cut myself with the most is Andrew's Scorpion lock that's on my 8015. So much so that I got titanium scales for it, which I didn't need because there's not much to scale on that knife. And I had Sawtooth Dave hollow grind it for me. Fred, you don't have a fixie, buddy? Fred the Lug, I met in Atlanta last year. He's a very, what would you call it? Accomplished collector. He has a beautiful collection of very fine knives. Jeffrey Dawson says last 3 were the Waxwing Chitlin, the Creeley Minnow, and the Transparent Doodle. I've not seen or held a doodle yet. Are you familiar with transparent knives, Gary? Brian Kim, he is out in California.
That sounds familiar.
He does a lot of heat treat stuff. He does a lot of HRC testing. He was doing regrinds exclusively for many years.
Okay.
And the reason his company's Transparent Knives is if you go to his website, it shows you, I think he has it based on, I'm going to say this wrong, but skills, something that he feels like he's very highly skilled in, and something that he feels like he's not as skilled in, even though he's skilled in both. And he prices it differently. He's a unique guy.
So Jeffrey, how do you like your minnow? You got it there. I see it came to you on the 6th. Give him a second, right? Hopefully he says he likes it. I might say, I don't like it. I'm sending it back.
He'll say it if he will. I know him. He's typing. I can tell you that Isaac, the guy that came through Huntsville that introduced me to your stuff, loves it. And he loves his Mako too. His Mako is his dedicated truck knife. Okay.
Yeah, the Mako's a little more, kind of every job size. Like you could field dress a pretty good size animal with that. And whereas the Minnow is a little more limited in that regard. I was thinking about going after for a small fixed blade, for that small fixed blade in particular, like a fishing world. That's just a whole different pool of people, no pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a little outside the knife world, but in it, but especially in something like MagnaCut where it's super corrosion resistance and all that.
So much that Spyderco's now made it their salt blade go-to.
Right, on the American salts. One of the worst steels ever is Spyderco H2. Ugh.
Is it just soup? I've never used it. I've seen it. And Jeffrey Dawson says it's great. He thinks Magnamax is the perfect steel given the shorter blade.
Yeah, you really reap the benefits of the higher edge retaining steel in a greater way in a small blade, where your cutting's concentrated into a smaller area. But yeah, there's
that's that new manual Protect. That is from what's his name? Sean at Peace Peace Neighbor. Sean Fairburn, I think is his name. I could have made that last name up. I do that sometimes.
So for the longest time, automatic knives were illegal in Pennsylvania, and recently, within the last year or two, they became legal. So I kind of always had a sort of a special liking of automatic knives, but now that they become legal, I have zero interest in them anymore. There's nothing, you know, I'm not living on the edge.
Unattainable when you feel like you're kind of living on the edge.
Yeah, ooh, I got an automatic. Ooh. But like, now it's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, and honestly, like, here's the Demko. Like,
it's just as quick.
I mean, am I really losing any speed there to get in the big knife fight? You know what they say about knife fight? Nobody wins a knife fight.
No,
you're not going to win.
No,
H2, I guess they said H2 was a little better than H1. I don't know.
Did you see Jeffrey's comment earlier? Has slightly better edge retention than butter, slightly.
Oh, H2, yes. H1, H2. Was there an H3? I forget. Yeah, it was terrible. Then you had to get it serrated if you were going to get it. But even then. So the Japanese knives have the H series steels, Magna Cut, and then they also did LC200N for a while.
Yep. And
which
I
is
think
a good choice also.
I know that what's their name? Quiet Carry uses it for their liners. LC200, I think, for their water or their salt proof series, allegedly.
Okay.
Yeah, I like automatics, but for me, I prefer a manual just because of the way it functions. I like closing a knife as much as I do opening one, if that makes any sense.
I really like ProTech manual. So like the Malibu, and there's that other model.
They've got the Malibu, which was my first. They've got the what's this called? Hell, I got it right here. Mordax. And then they've got the T300 or the TR3. And then they've got
I like the TR3.
Yeah, the TR3 has got studs. So I find it to have the best action out of the manual bunch. It's my least favorite blade geometry. So it's got really snappy fire, but it's got kind of thick blade geometry, which is good for what it's designed for, I imagine. But for example, the Mordax is much thinner blade geometry. This cuts, for me, cardboard a lot better or cat food than this. I like the action of this one much better.
So here's a ProTech 154 cm TR3 Blade HQ for $190.
That's a deal for a USA made button lock.
That's a lot of knife for that amount of money.
I agree. I think it's $20 more for the scales like I've got, but it was a very affordable. I traded for this, but I think they're right around $210 with the aluminum scales, the dragon scale looking stuff.
I don't know what their dragon scale. A lot of these are in 154 cm, which is a steel I like a lot. I mean, I would prefer Magna Cut probably, but here's a black one with.
This one's S35.
Yeah, I have an S35 one. S35 is not one of my favorite steels. Now these go up a little bit if you start getting fancy, and now there's a frame lock version of it.
Oh yeah, that's an older model.
Here's a titanium frame lock version of it. It's $249.
That was old though. That was discontinued years ago.
Oh, was it? Like,
I believe so.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That was one of the first variations of this. It's really unique. If you look at the
Yeah.
frame lock side of it, how it looks so basically cut out, but it handles amazing.
So here's a Magna Cut version. Black with texture, like triangle texture. Looks like it has a mother of pearl in the button. $295.
What I mean, under $300 for a well-made USA.
And that's where for me Sebenzas get a little tough. Not
Right.
so well, Chris Reeves. It's just it's so it's a little you're paying a bit of a premium there. But I mean, it is a tighter knife. I mean, it is a little better for sure. But yeah, I really like that knife though. That TR3 makes me want to buy
Josh,
another
my
one.
feedback has been good on S45. I only have it in 2 knives, but again, my cut use is not as noticeable as a lot of people. Todd says it's really well balanced, just was overshadowed by Magna Cut when it was released.
Yeah, Magna Cut kneecapped it. I mean, it was really bang bang. But the S4, okay, so S30V, S35, S45. S30V was the OG, but it was a little hard to work with and machine. So S35 came out to be easier to machine, but it gave up some edge retention in the process. So S30 actually has a little better edge retention than S35. But S35 had a little better corrosion resistance. It was a little easier to machine. Then S45 came out, which had the edge retention of S30, but the corrosion resistance of S35, and it was nicer to work with. So S45 in that family of 3 steels, which are all kind of Chris Reeve steels, really. In that family of steels, S45 is the best of those 3. I would imagine S35 probably has a little bit of edge holding over Magna Cut and a little less toughness. So, you know, if I was looking at a blade in Magna Cut or S45V, I wouldn't really look at them in a different light, especially in a folder. You know,
Okay.
like that's like 6 of one, half dozen the other. But it, you know, S45 does not have the allure of others. So yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of something we've done to ourselves talking about it. Do you think,
Yes.
I mean, is that where that allure comes from?
It's just the marketing, you know, it's a cooler name. You know, like Germans have all these steels that are named like 1.284693845. This is like, what's that? You know, so when you have some Magna Cut, Magna Max, you know, L Max,
Kind of rolls off the tongue. I've
Max
noticed
Met.
Benchmade's been putting out a lot of L Max lately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's, you know what I want to do a run of Makos in is XHP. I think that's a steel that people enjoy that just didn't have the run that it should have because of Carpenter's inability to Carpenter, another Pennsylvania company right down the road from me. They just didn't they couldn't keep it in supply, but now it's in supply. And so I think it'd be cool. What's my favorite steel? Oh boy, I don't know. I think Magnamax might be one of my favorites for a while. I really value edge retention and corrosion resistance. And Magnamax has both of those. Toughness, I value if the knife requires it, but most folders or knives the size of a Mako or Minnow do not require a great deal of it. And I don't abuse my knives either.
Right. You use them for their intended purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
but
love XHP too.
204P is basically I think that's just 20 CV. which is M390. Those three steels are kind of analogs, I believe. So 204P would just be 20 CV would just be M390. So that doesn't excite me quite as much because those steels were played pretty fully. But XHP is a little more interesting. It's a little more interesting, and it has good edge retention. It has good sharpening characteristics. Yeah.
And you think it would be good? You think for the Mako, you'd be interested in maybe doing that down the road?
Either that, or I have this knife I'm working on, called the Medium. Let's see here. Go in the AutoCAD barrel. I don't have that file open. Yeah, it's actually a little bit like a Survive knife type, mid-sized, smaller knife, a medium-sized knife, hence the name Medium. I was thinking about doing it for that. I ran 3V in Makos for a while. They sold out. I think I prefer crew wear over 3V for a smaller knife like that. Yeah.
Todd Carr's always a wealth of great information in the chat. He and Kyle helped me make sense of steels. And again, I'm that end user. And I think the biggest eye opener for me being actually in the knife buying, selling world of a retail shop is the amount of people that ask about steels. And it's so far to date, zero that have asked about the differences or what do I want for this. It's not something they think about. And it surprises me. I would have expected more people would come in, especially in a engineer-minded town where you've got metallurgists that actually work here and talk about it. Nitro V is a beautiful thing. Larry and Thomas had a video out recently. The video will speak. Sweet. Here, Rick. Yeah, I think Nitro V, a lot of people like that steel. Gary, what's your thoughts on Nitro V?
Nitro V is not meaningfully different than AEBL, in my opinion. It's very slightly different. And I would say it is a quality entry-level steel. It's a quality entry-level steel. It does not compete with MagnaCut or MagnaMax or S90V or S45V or go down the list.
They're super,
or even XHP. XHP smokes it especially in terms of edge retention.
Yeah.
Just looking up, I thought, I could be wrong. So let's see. Yeah, XHP is not a spray form of D2. I believe XHP is a little more closer to it's a little closer to 440C or CPM 154. It's along those lines. But it gets up, it's 16% carbon. I got one of these stink bugs in here. It's driving me. It's got like D2 carbon levels, but 440C chromium levels. Otherwise, it is relatively similar to D2 outside of 4% more chrome. And being, is it spray form or is it actually a particle metallurgy process? I think it might be a particle metallurgy. Let's see. XHP, as per Carpenter, 440XH is an air hardening high carbon, high chromium, corrosion resistant alloy, which can be described as either high hardness type 440C stainless steel or corrosion resistant D2 tool steel. So it's related. Possesses corrosion resistance equivalent to 440C. but can attain a maximum hardness of 64, approaching that of D2. So that's a nice little,
Yeah.
compromise. Probably relatively low on the toughness scale, I would guess. Side note, Spyderco is planning to make Manix 2 folders in this steel. I don't know when that was written. But it's a nice steel. It's carpenter steel. It's cool.
I've got it in my Spyderco Shaman, and I really, really like it. I love the way it felt on stones, and it's sharp, sharp, sharp. Josh wants to know what your thoughts on Spy 27. I think that's a Spyderco steel, if I'm not mistaken.
I see Spy 27. I think it's a nice steel. I see it in the family of S30V, S35, S45. I see it in that family of steels, a variation on that. It's nice. I like it. It improves in some ways. I forget what its benefits are, but it's in the neighborhood of that. It's in the neighborhood of those two. The other thing about Nitro V, the main company that was making it went out of, well, they didn't go out of business, but they're stopping making it. So I was taught Nitro V was predominantly a product sold by New Jersey Steel Baron. And I just talked to the owner of that at the knife show, and he's talking about that. There is another knife steel that's not released yet that Carpenter has, which would be a competitor to these. These are what I would call poured ingot steels. They're not atomized powdered steels. They're poured ingot steels. And they're talking about a real clean, nice little stainless steel that Carpenter's working on, like 421 or something, that will be relatively affordable because the powdered steels have gotten really expensive, but should be pretty high performance. They said approaching MagnaCut. We'll see.
Are you going to work with any of that when it becomes available?
Oh yeah, I'll get sheets of the second it comes out, and put them on my laser and get knives made. That's
awesome,
what I do.
dude.
That's what I do. That's my niche in the market.
Hey, Crispy, check out the Lynch Blade Swift 6. It's in Crewwear, and it is amazingly sharp little knife. I don't know if I showed you this, Gary. This little guy that Casey Lynch's shop manager came up with. That's Crewwear, about 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe a little thicker.
Yeah, I like Crewwear. So Crewwear 3V and 4V are all in the same family. It would be 3V the toughest of that family, 4V the highest edge retaining of that family, and Crewwear right in between. But there's just something about the formulation of Crewwear that makes it really nice to sharpen. It gets
I love the way it feels on a stone. And somebody mentioned up here, is Z-Wear in that family, or is that a different altogether?
Z-Wear is, I believe, Z-Wear is, I believe, Aerosteel's version of Crewwear that Zap buys and relabels. See, the Z-Wear, Z-Tough, like these are terms, these are made up terms,
right?
That a company that Zap, a company that buys steel and resells it, that it's just marketing terms. So Z-Wear, and now that Aerosteel is, I think Z-Wear comes from Aerosteel. I'm not sure. Maybe it comes from Bowler, but it's an equivalent to Crewwear. Some people said it was cleaner, and that's very possibly true. But and now it's going to be NS Wear, which is the CPM recipe of Z-Wear. So this gets all very confusing.
It's fascinating though. I mean, because little bitty tweaks can make big differences in either how marketers interpret it and it's adopted by the community or knife makers, or those properties and how they actually make people that make knives feel about using it, or people that buy knives feel about you. There's science there that I find fascinating. A lot of it is just renamed.
Yeah. Yeah. So like 14C28N, AEBL, Nitro V, they're all very similar steels. I think 14C28N is the best of that group. I think it would be fair to say in everyday use that they may be hard to tell the difference. The addition of the nitrogen does add some benefits to 14C28N that AEBL or Nitro V do not benefit from, but it's not a lot of nitrogen in it, but it's enough to make a positive difference. But that would be my choice. I just made that braking knife I made was in that steel. But again, all three of those are what I would consider entry-level steels. They're going to have, but I would say like, well done AEBL or one of those three steels is way better than the 420 HC that Buck uses, that, Case Knife uses. I mean,
It's
those
been
are
used forever, and people
really,
swear by it.
yeah.
They don't know better, I guess, or haven't experienced better. But
Yeah.
people
So-
come in and they talk about that steel because they know about it.
What's cool is those slip joints that are going to be made of Magnamax. That's going to be a very interesting, going from 420 that has like a max hardness of 54 to 62 Rockwell super high vanadium content.
You probably never need to sharpen it, Gary.
They probably never will.
In its life of a slip joint, and that's you didn't say who was making those, but I assume they're a custom maker close to you.
Custom maker, yeah.
Okay.
Another Pennsylvania maker. Yeah, Tori Ott. Sacred Bear Knives is his site. So hopefully, now I'm trying to work a deal where I give him the blanks and I get a free knife out of the exchange. We'll see how that works. I think he was up for it though.
Sacred Bear Knives.
Mm-hmm. Sacred Bear.
Let me share this right here. Tell me if this is him. We'll look at it because it looks like he makes some beautiful knives. If this is,
he does. He makes some fixed blades too. Yep, that's him.
So he was at New York Knife Show too.
He was. Yeah, and so yeah, like that clip is one of the ones I cut out.
I think handmade slip joints to me are more gee whiz than modern folders. I don't know why.
Kinda. I really like them. Like, there's just a little more craftsmanship in them, and they're like $400, $500, $600.
Yeah, and
but I'd rather pay $400, $500, $600 for that than $250 for a GEC on the secondary market.
Well put and absolutely noted. I agree. Because I mean, these have personality. They look like they have individual soul.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's gotten better over the years too. Like, so they're quite nice now.
And so approximately how many blades, are any of these that he has out here have your blades in them? Have you already started doing that, or is that something that you just
that one right? Go down again. That one in the middle. Yeah, that one. I cut out a bunch of those. And then he has one called the Kronos. It has a harpoon blade. See if you find that. Let's go down. Oh, right there.
This one?
Green one. The green one.
Yeah, I see the harpoon in it now. I missed it the first time.
Yeah, that's a cool blade. I cut those two. Those are the two patterns I cut out for him. Yeah, the thing with slip joints, it's like, man, if I made slip joints, I would get like 300 blades out of a sheet of steel.
Yeah, but you'd get a lot of gray. I mean, I can't imagine trying to. Have you ever taken one apart? I took a Dragonfly apart and tried to do a scale swap on it. That's a very Pena-esque, cool-looking blade. I say Pena-esque because I'm only familiar with, I'm sure it's a historical blade shape. Nice Warncliffe.
Yeah, but how cool to have a traditional slip joint with a not yet released steel. There's a better look at the harpoon blade.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the
Seven.
best of both because his are pinned together. They're not screwed together. So you're getting
Smaller one.
traditional construction, beautiful materials, and the best steel possible.
He does screw some together. He does do some of those, but I would prefer it just to be traditional. That's it's just such a contrasting, just
Ideologies, really. You've got here's the screwed one. You're right. Yeah. I mean, you've got traditional everything, but using space science metals. There's some of his fixed blades.
yeah. I like his slip joints better than his fixed blades.
Very cool stuff, though. And I think it's awesome that it gives you, I mean, instead of having to make pry bars or something that you could make with those cutoffs or whatever you call those areas you can't use in a sheet.
Yeah, I'm just glad to not throw away good steel, you know,
Exactly.
especially that steel that I have to beg and, cajole and, all that.
Rothman
Yeah.
knives.
Well, brother, I think I need to get to bed.
Hey, man, you don't know how much I appreciate you lending your expertise, and I call it expertise because it's much more than I have, and I know you'll consider it. You're just on the journey, but I appreciate you stopping by, dude. You're welcome anytime. I love having your info here. I hate that Kyle's sick tonight because I think y'all have good conversations because y'all can actually have dialogue about this stuff and understand each other. I'm just a student. Josh says, thank you for the class.
Yeah, it's just fun stuff. It's just fun to talk about blades and that journey. And I've picked up a fair amount of knowledge over the years, but there's a lot more to be picked up. Yeah, this might make me want to make slip joints. Maybe I'll keep one of those blades myself and make a slip joint.
I know you could do it.
Yeah,
I know you can do it.
He lives about 2 hours from me, so it's a little bit of a ride to go to his shop. But I might go to a shop and finish one off.
What kind of machine do you have to have just set that spring tension? I mean, you have to have something,
like
right?
A little jig thing.
Okay.
Nothing to it. It's just skill. Yeah.
Skill and time and fitting them together and knowing what you're doing.
Yep. That's all it is.
Crow Blades. Well, Gary, have a great night, buddy.
All right.
Share this other maker site, this slip joint guy that somebody mentioned. Yeah. And I will shoot you a link Friday night. And if you're ever available, buddy, I love having you here.
Yeah. If I'm not doing anything, I'll pop in. All right, man.
All right, bud. Have a great night.
Guys. All right. We'll see you.
See you. That's always a treat, guys. I'm going to go up here and share. I'm trying to find the comment about this maker. Where was it? You guys know I can't drive a chat, and I apologize for that. I'm going to share this because one of y'all brought it up, and I was just looking at his page. Rothman Knives out of Arkansas. And it looks like he's got a line of slippies. Let's see what we got here. I love those grinds. Little spear points. I mean, there's so many people doing so much cool stuff. It's just hard to keep up with all of it. I mean, because that's getting it done. Yeah, I mean, traditionals to me are a totally different animal. And I will say that I've started to appreciate them again, working around them. And I think it's because the buyers that come in and buy the cases, for example, and we get GECs too, they're just so passionate about them. A traditional buyer, especially around the holidays, y'all would be amazed at the people that come in that buy them every year for a grandson, a son. It's just a tradition. Um, and I had a guy come in. Thanks, Richard. I had a guy come in last week looking for a single blade slip joint. And I asked him, what he was going to use it for. And he was having a son in 6 months. He's got a son coming. And he wants to be able to give him one each year. And I said, that's really cool. Did your dad do that for you? Just thinking that that's probably what happened. He's like, no, I just think it's a cool thing to do. And it's amazing how people come into knives. Rough Rider Reserves are great knives without breaking the bank. I've still got a little one back here that I'll probably give away on a upcoming members live, a little copperhead. They make, as far as fit and finish, and I'll tell you who else. Rosecraft Blades makes a really nice slip joint. So this is a Rough Rider Reserve mini copperhead. And I got this at Smoky Mountain Knife Works when I was first into slip joints because I was amazed at how much they cost. This one was like on the more expensive side, and it was like $63. Micarta D2 or VG10. D2. And all the Rough Rider Reserves, which I think are made in the same place as the Rosecrafts, have good walk and talk. All of mine have been very well centered. But then for the same money, I found that if you go to a case dealer where you're not just buying them online, Case can make a very nice slip joint with excellent. This is if I'm not mistaken, a mini single blade trapper, Warncliffe. And this was like $90, I think, in stainless retail. And then the last one that got me excited, that still got me excited because I'm probably going to get a carbon steel version. Nope. I'm carrying today. I cheated. I'm carrying my Feel Good Jack, which is a fantastic slip joint. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings. As a tool, I really like this thing. It's super sharp. But what I was going to show you guys, the one that I have been carrying is my Cheetah Cub. This is a knife that Case brought back this year. I don't like this is Kierknight. The only reason I have this color is because this is the one that was still available. But check this out. Got that swing bolster, the lock back, and it's a Zippo, i.e. Case. I didn't realize that, but Case is owned by Zippo. And I think that's a really cool little knife. It didn't come super sharp, but I've got a little Victorinox hand sharpener. Patty's Potato Peelers had a video on it. I bought one a while back off Amazon, and it's a great way to get your slip joints, if they don't come super sharp, good and cutting sharp without putting them on a control or angle system, something like that. But the Cheetah Cub and other Case knives that I work around every day have gotten my attention. I'm going to show you guys another really cool knife that Big Idea Design Company sent me to check out. This is what I consider an understated, elegant, perfect little gentleman's folder if you're right-handed. Even though the clip is reversible, it has two screws that hold it together, one there in the pivot. It's titanium, open back, except for a back spacer. And it's just a small little M390 slip joint. Not slip joint, modern folding locking knife. The same size. My little, but it rides in the pocket great. And it is big enough for everything that I cut. To give you a comparison, let me grab a bug out. Got my size comparison bug out here somewhere. Yeah. Here's a Benchmade bug out, regular bug out. So it's a little bitty titanium M390 knife, but it's every bit of knife that I need. Even when I'm breaking down cardboard with it, it's got great blade geometry, thumb studs, frame lock, just simple little knife. It's called the, I think it's called the Signal. I haven't reviewed it yet. I've just been carrying it. But it is a clean little EDC folder. I'm a big fan of that knife. Richard, slip joints are, I didn't carry them for a long time. Now I carry 3 knives every day. And I don't use 3 knives every day. I carry a slip joint in my left pocket with my flashlight. And the flashlight that I carry, the guy I work with told me about it. It's a $35 Emsir, EMSIR. And it is made by a guy it's got one of the most complex button activated menus. So it's got a lot of settings that you can use. I've got it where you turn it on and you turn it off. And what's cool, I don't know if you can see that glow. After I turn it on, watch, I turn it on. I turn it off, it's going to have LED lights that glow. It's glowing blue. Then it turns off. Turn it on. If I hold it down, it gets brighter. Hold it down again, it gets not as bright. Turn it off. Got my little LEDs. Now they're green. But this is a cool little light. I carry it every day. It's powered by a single 14-something battery that's similar to a AAA size. And I carry a slip joint in that pocket along with my front pocket wallet, which is I was testing one of those hard wallets. Now I'm just carrying a CountyCom little RFID minimalist wallet. Carry that in my front pocket with my slip joint and my flashlight. And then in my left pocket, I carry my primary folder. Today it's the Quiet Carry 9. Fantastic knife. I love this knife. I forget who traded with me couple years ago on this knife. I think it was G-Ball that had told me about it, the action, when I was an action chaser, which I still kind of am to an extent. But then in my back pocket is where I carry my fixie. That's why I haven't carried my tried and true yet, because I could carry it in my right front pocket, but I'm scared to sit on that K390 because most of my fixed blades I'm sitting on. I've been sitting on my Lynch Crewwear. I've been sitting on my MagnaCut from Three Rivers. I sit on my fret every day. I mean, that's the one that gets sat on the most. But that's just how I carry knives. A little bit different than other people. Jeffrey, that's a slip joint I'm dying to try. Michael, I love American Blade Works. Michael Martin is a fantastic guy. He's got another batch of those getting ready to come out. He's so overrun with the success of it, and the price of it is out of this world. I mean, if you look at the price of that knife, and it's a USA made titanium slip joint, that's almost criminal. And I would not, until I think Jack Wolf's got me into it. And then I chased GECs. Now I even have embarrassed. But Brother Jim gifted me this little Apache case. This is a tiny one. This one you'd put a pew in. It's 1,000 or 1,800. And I keep my slip joints, some of my slip joints in here. But then I started collecting a couple of GECs. On Thursday, when I go back to work, I'm taking a older pew and a little fixed blade and probably trading for a really cool Great Eastern Cutlery Warncliffe. And again, I'm a single blade guy, so I don't get the slip joints with a lot of blades. A lot of people do. This is one of my favorites. This is a Three Rivers Manufacturing Atlas titanium slip joint, and it is a slip joint. It's just got a spring on each side there. So it's got a half stop. And if you watch right here, you'll see those titanium springs push out and then lock up. But this is a little 20 CV with a pocket clip slip joint that I think is super cool. And then Lefty knows how I feel about him, because one of my favorite slip joints in my collection is my nip slip. Lefty did a great job designing this little slip joint. Little utility cutter, S90V. This one's in glow carbon fiber, black titanium. It's a great carry. It's small. But again, I'm not using a slip joint to cut a bunch of cardboard. The Bullbuster's a great one, crispy critter. I'm also a big fan of the QSP Hedgehog. I had a QSP Hedgehog before Austin came out with the traditional pocket knives special Hedgehog. But this is an import, Chinese-made, hollow ground. You can get in 14C and my card of handles for under $70. I think $63. But slip joints just, they do. I mean, Todd, the ABW slip joint is fantastic. I've got something kind of cool, hopefully going on with Michael and ABW that I'll hopefully be able to talk about in a few more weeks or so. I'm trying to bring a cool idea to him, because I'll be honest with you guys, and you guys I think know this that have followed the channel. I kind of do things a little bit different. I always will review what I consider to be quality budget knives, like companies like CJRB, Concept, Tenable. I'm so thankful, Kaiser, for the relationships I have with them. Supply me with cool budget knives. But when it comes to premium knives, Kaiser, if you go back and look at not just my early videos, but if you knew me as a collector, I love Kaiser knives. I love Kaiser bladesmith knives. I've got a Matthew Christensen critical, and I've given away probably 25 of my S35VN titanium Kaisers. So I'll always be a fan of modern Kaiser premium knives. But most everything that I bring to the channel are knives that I like, that I seek out. I don't like to, there are times that I will take an opportunity to look at a knife because somebody reached out to me. This is a perfect example of that. This Olive Knives Arbor. I never heard of one, right? But most everything on my channel are knives that I reach out to makers or companies, or they're my knives. For a year and a half, they were all my knives. Since I haven't been working in a primary job, I've had to rely more on companies that send me knives. but they're companies that I reach out to and try to get a strategic relationship with, like Three Rivers Manufacturing, Les and Marianne, or like TKL, Tim and Suzanne. I'm a fan of their products. I was a fan of their products before I wanted to show knives. Because I'll be honest with you, again, if you do a knife channel, and any of you guys out there that do, we basically talk to ourselves about knives. So I'm just sitting here in a studio with a knife talking about it. So if it's something that I have no passion or no excitement for, it makes it challenging. And then at what point am I just filling air, right? And that's not what I want to do. There are knives that come in that I never review, but they're knives like this CJRB Fugly that I plan on dedicating 10 minutes of my time to make a video on, because it's a $35 knife in 14C that cuts like a dream. It's fugly, but it's functional. Works great for a knife, cuts great as a tool, and is very inexpensive on the pocketbook. I can get behind a knife that excites me because it fills a place in the market, right? This knife, which I'll say in my review when I do, it's not for me. It reminds me of a Benchmade, but it's I would call it a first responders type knife. It's a survival knife, I guess you'd call it, whatever has a seatbelt hook. I don't know. An ambulance driver. It's not me. It's not going to be a knife that I would say I need to have that, but I can understand how for $50, somebody might say, yeah, that fits a need that I have carrying a knife. I've made friends with a Madison County or Limestone County sheriff that comes in and buys a lot of knives. He buys a lot of Benchmades, and he's a semi-serrated kind of guy. If he was a budget buyer, because this is AEBL steel, G10 handle, he would probably like something like this. I don't mind showing it off because it's unique in that the Aegis, which is what this is called, it's the first time I've seen a Kaiser, a reliable company, do something in a survival, weird liner lock back. I missed this on the review when I did the unboxing. I didn't even know that was there. That little, it's not really a gut hook. It's more of a seatbelt hook or a material hook, or if you cut straps at work, that kind of thing. But it's cool. It's not something I'd buy, but I can appreciate it. But for me to make a video, I've got to have some kind of connection to the knife, or it's painful. And videos don't get made. I mean, I'll do unboxings on some knives that don't get videos. That's why you don't see a lot of negative reviews on my channel, because if I don't feel inspired by the knife, it's not going to get time. It's just weird. Should have named the What's up, Derek? You ain't fugly, brother. I'll show you the other one that I really think is I'm not a fan. Gary's a big fan of bar locks. I'm not. But this is a great knife. I think this knife's about 40 bones. I love the blade shape. I love the size. It's about the size of a bug out. Flat scales, G10, nice texture, deep carry reversible clip, and a bar lock that works very well. CJRB, even though I'm not a fan of AARPM 9, I'm not a hater of AARPM 9 or whatever their proprietary steel is. I can tell you that this knife has cut a good bit of cardboard. It hasn't processed as much as others, but it's still super sharp. And it's $35 and it looks unique. I can get behind that. Same with concept. I don't have a concept out here, but like this knife right here, I won't waste too much of your time, but this is a knife that I had no idea who designed it. It's a CJRB. This is about a $50 knife because it's G10 and aluminum. It's got a blade deployment hole. And when you look at it, you learn that it's a Mallory design called the Droma, Droma. Review coming on this because this is a very inexpensive Dylan Mallory design liner lock that has great action, has my type of deployment, does not have a front flipper, does not have a regular flipper. Dylan Mallory's designs are typically, either thumb flicker, thumb roller, but pleasant surprises like that, right? A knife that you can get for under $60. I'm not fishing in that pond anymore, but I used to all the time. And I think that's a very worthy catcher of somebody's $60 and make a great knife for somebody if you're looking for a Mallory design small liner lock folder. But it goes back to there's so many knives out there, they're just so many. They're being designed every day. And I can't say that I don't like a lot of the designs. I just can't keep up with a lot of the designs. So what I try to do is just focus on the stuff that I think's really cool, that I find out about. I'm really lucky and blessed to be working part-time down at Knives and More because I get to see a lot of stuff. I just got to see yesterday, I did a short. I doubt I'll do a review on it because we sold both of them. One of them, the second one's on reserve. It's a Microtech SOCOM ram lock, and they did the clip the right way, in my opinion. Super cool knife. I'd love to be able to feature it, but they sold out, but just to be able to see cool knives. The Stout, the V2, that's a knife, B Shady, that I loved. At first, it never got my attention. The Buzz was my favorite premium Devo. Actually, the Nip and the Nip Slip I've got a Lush that I really like. The Stout was not my favorite design. When I tried the Stout V2, Lefty sent me one to review. I got it. I got the action. I got the allure of that knife. It's a great knife. For me, it never attracted me stylistically. Like I told Lefty, it looked like a drunk pelican. But that's okay. Spydercos look like crazy birds. It's just, there's so many good knives out there. And what I want to do is just be able to share some of the cool ones, the ones that I think are cool. I love what Kaiser's doing with this Norplex micarta, this Ultra X. They're getting really good micarta from a company called Norplex, and it makes a difference on their knives. This is I want to say $50 or $60 knife. This Phoca, Phoca, and it's a really good cutter. Button activated liner lock. And then I don't know what I did with that. I did a video the other day on this knife. Absolutely excited about this knife. And I'll tell you why. This is a Remet Camel. I've never reviewed a Remet on this channel before this one. Remet, a division of Remet, not Remet Knives, but their Amazon division reached out to me to see if I wanted to try this knife out. I said, sure, not knowing what to expect. It is a liner lock, 14C, with the blade hole, really nice shape. It's got a button actuated liner lock, so I can actuate the liner right there like I would normally, or I can use the button. And this knife's under $40. And that excites me. It's not something I would have sought out, but it cuts great. The action is next level. The lockup is strong. It's got the button if you want to have a button actuated liner lock, but you can still get to the liner, even though it doesn't have a cutout for it, the regular way. I found that innovative. I know I get excited about stuff that doesn't excite a lot of other people, but for $35.99, the Remet Camel excites me. I think that's very cool. Stuff like that I just think is cool. Joe Lancelot leather sheath on my tried and true. I think it's cool. I think it's even cooler that I called it Joe Isabella when I did the review. I gave my brother, my spiritual Sherpa, Joe Isabella, credit because I don't know Master Yoda's last name, and my brain just works that way. Filled in a name. It's also Lancelot leather sheath. There was never any question of that. I had the card out. But I put Isabella, another craftsman, last name on it because you guys create really cool stuff. 1931 Leatherworks. Josh, let me look. No, I haven't been looking at my IG. Y'all sit tight for 2 seconds. Let me share something. Boom. And guys, if you ever send me messages on IG and I don't get right back to you, where is it? Where is it? Josh, you sent it on IG to my. There's Brother Derek. And the answer is yes, Derek. I didn't get it, Josh. It may be, and I'm on my desktop. It may be delayed. I've not gotten a message yet, brother. Or I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it yet. There's some awesome stuff out there. The year of quality and uniqueness. B Shady, I think each year we see more and more of that because more and more people are throwing their names in the hat. And I think that's refreshing. I think that's cool. I think it's unfortunate when companies come and go like Simpleton or Servant Knives. I've got a little bitty small 6-inch knife in 3V called the Simpleton. This is called the Mech Fighter. But then there's always people like Trevor from Wax Wing Knives that I would not have known about had it not been for Brother Richard, who had one of these knives when he came and visited me. And these are wonderful little Nitro V slicers. Very well priced. I mean, this knife's a $130 knife, $135 maybe. And it's just done very, very well. And there's so much stuff out there, guys. It's a good time to be in the knife game. And if you happen to be fortunate and have cash now, it's a good time to be a knife buyer because not only are there a lot of choices, it's a buyer's market, especially on the secondary. It is a huge buyer's market. But guys, it's getting late. I have got to go to the little boys' room. I am going to eat. And I love each and every one of you. Thanks for hanging. I want to thank Gary for coming on. I hate that Kyle's not feeling good. Wish him speedy recovery. Hope he can come back for Friday. But we will be back Friday, guys. I will be here bringing the weirdness. And I hope y'all come and join me. I'll try to get some fun, interesting people that can bring some actionable content, stuff that makes sense. But I love each and every one of you guys. Do me a favor. Look out for the guy to your left. Look out for the guy to your right or gal. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Always. Choose debate, not hate. I love you guys. Peace.
It's late night, patty whack, give a dog a bone. Grab a snack, sit right back and never be alone. It's time for Insomniac, sit and spin. A knife live stream and a gathering of friends. Insomniac, sit and